Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here, 9:30. It's Thursday, Think Tank, baby. On Thursdays, we like to all get together and be a think tank and think about a certain subject. And today we want to talk about Jordy Fernandez and who he is, how he fits with the Raptors, and what Raptors fans need to know about him. There's a lot of really cool things about him I found out yesterday. I did do a deep dive on him, and I know a lot about Jordy now, considering things. I could not find his dissertation though. Y'all that read his dissertation, are you sure you read the right Jordy Fernandez's dissertation? Because there's a Jordy Fernandez that's in Australia that wrote a PhD that has his dissertation up online, and I was reading. I was like, "This isn't." Wait, I couldn't find his. So if y'all know where it is, give me the link. Speaking of dissertations and being smart, there is an article out yesterday that the Toronto Raptors fan base is the smartest fan base in the entire NBA. In fact, we're ranked number one. We have the smartest. They did this research on figuring out the percentage of the fan base that has graduate degrees, regular degrees, high school degrees, no education. And overall, the Toronto Raptors had the smartest fans in the NBA. That's what that study found. Now, I don't know if this is indicative of the Canadian education system versus the U.S. education system. That may very well be a big part of it, but it's very interesting. We're ranked number one in that. And then there's other people. They talked about who is in the bottom, who are the dumbest fan bases in the league. They actually list them in this article. And the dumbest franchise in the league, the third to last dumbest is the Cavaliers. And then the Bulls and the Lakers are tied for second to last. And then y'all will never believe this. The dumbest, according to this study, the dumbest fan base in the NBA is the Golden State Warriors fan base. So the bottom ones are Golden State, Chicago, and the Lakers, and then Cleveland. Those are the dumbest fan bases in the league. And we are ranked number one. We are the smartest fan base. And we know this channel right here is one of the smartest channels in Raptors Nation also. So we are like the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the smart right here, aren't we? Yeah, that's right. We'll be proud as the Raptor Freak cult. That's right. Trevor J's here first thing in the morning. Good morning to all Raptors fans. Love, peace, and happiness on a Thursday morning. Love, peace, and happiness to you, my good friend Trevor J, a great, positive Raptor fan that I enjoy engaging with every morning on the live stream. He's saying rumors trade between the Lakers and the Raptors, also Philadelphia. If this is true, I will go with Philadelphia for Tyrese Maxey for Fred. I'd love to just do that. If y'all want to do that, Philly, we can do this. You want to do Fred for Tyrese straight up? You got Nick Nurse coming in. You want Fred to go with the set, right? That's what y'all want so bad. Well, Tyrese, that's what we want coming the other way. We're going to be a little bit of hard bargain in here because in some ways, look, we have to do this with y'all? No, we don't. In some ways, we really don't. So, yeah, sign and trade or something like that. Tyrese Maxey, that's what we want. And no less. Philadelphia Nation. So if you want Fred, we want Tyrese. How about that? Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Tom Duke is here. If deemed necessary, and it becomes a time to rebuild, Jordy would be a fantastic and exciting choice. I was much more clear and in depth last night with my rebus. Good morning. All right, Tom's got all kinds of cool little characters in there, and he's speaking his emoticon language in the chat. I love to see it, Tom. All right, let's talk about Jordy real quick. Jordy is 40 years old. And that's pretty young, honestly. Like, he got involved in coaching at very, very young. In his early 20s, he worked for an elite academy, and he was discovered by Mike Brown. And Mike Brown said, "Hey, I'd like you to come work for me." And that's how he got into the NBA. He started in Cleveland with the Cavaliers when Mike Brown had his first coaching stint with them in the mid-2000s. And at that time, Jordy was working with LeBron, Kyrie, Shaquille O'Neal. These are all people that Jordy has worked with. And if you talk to any three of those men that I just named, they will say glowing things about Jordy Fernandez. I'll tell you that right now. You go talk to Big Shaq Diesel and say, "Hey, how do you like Jordy Fernandez?" "Oh, Jordy, he's a good coach. I'm going to tell you right now. He's a good coach. You could get him. You'll have a really smart coach on your team." It could be like that. So the references for Jordy Fernandez are very, very good. Very, very good. And he has such a varied experience in his life. You all know that Jordy Fernandez did not speak English until he got into his 20s. He did not speak any English until he was in his early 20s. He started to learn English then. So this is very interesting. He's born in the suburb of Barcelona, Spain, Badalona. That's right. And he is somebody who has worked extensively with the Spanish national team because he's from Spain. And then also, once again, he is currently an assistant coach for Team Nigeria, the international team for Nigeria. And guess who's on that roster? And guess who has been coached by Jordy already? And guess who would be very interesting to see him work with him? Precious Achua. Precious Achua has a direct link to Jordi Fernandez from Team Nigeria, and they are quite familiar with each other. So in some ways, there's a linkage right there that this guy would come in and he would have an instant rapport and a relationship with Precious already. So, this guy is not that far off. I read a lot of stuff about him and everything I liked. Now, Tom's hinting that if we're redeveloping, if we're going to redo the team, like do a rebuild, he would be a coach for that. I disagree, Tom. He's going to be a good coach no matter what stage we're in, whether we decide to tear it all down or not, which I do not recommend. I do not want us to rebuild. I want us to retool, as people have been saying, maybe make one key switch out, like the one that Trevor and I were talking about earlier, Maxey for Fred, something like that. But I do not want to throw it all out and start over. No, I don't. And Jordy can do it either way. I think he could come into our team the way it is right now. And holy crap, some of the stuff he could do to change this thing around. Because the more I read about him, the more I realized he is a lot like Nick Nurse. He's innovative. He's daring. He'll do some things that maybe coaches wouldn't do normally because he has a different track in his life. He's a very different kind of person than the average NBA assistant coach. He has a PhD in sports psychology, and he really, really does. This is one of the quotes from his Wikipedia. It basically says this: whoever walks through that door, Jordy Fernandez can relate to them. He's either watched it, lived it, or seen it. And I love that. His mix of international basketball with his experience as an assistant coach in the NBA, working for the Sacramento Kings last year. That was his only year in Sacramento, guys. And then Denver before. He's very much a part of the nucleus that's going in the finals tonight from the year before, because he was with all them. In fact, David Adelman, Michael Malone, and Jordi Fernandez all kind of share things together, and they're part of a tight little coaching group of rising stars, young coaches coming up. Now, Jordy also is very, very unconventional. This is the other thing about him. When you play for Jordy, you got to stay on your toes. They won't get comfortable. He will always be challenging them. And one of the things he does is in his practices, they don't know what he's going to do in practice. It's like he doesn't do the same thing over and over again. He likes to do really crazy stuff that they're like, holy crap, this is what we're doing today. He'll totally surprise them. They'll come in for practice and he'll be like, yeah, you guys are doing this today. And he'll have some sort of weird props. And they'll be like, why are we doing this? This is going to be really good for your hand-eye coordination in the corner over there in the court. And they'll be like, okay, coach. But there's always something fresh and innovative and weird that he may have them doing in practice. Practice is not going to be a normal standard thing with Jordy if we hire him. It will be something that's fun and something that's a little bit weird, and that he'll have some sort of weird reason for why they're doing it. That was one of the coolest things I read about him, is that the players kind of get excited about practice because they have no idea what Jordy's going to ask them to do, and they like the challenge. So there's a lot of different things about him that I really, really, really do like. I mean, his age is something, but, he's been in coaching for 20 years, really, almost 20 years for the most part. And, him being around the NBA for 15 years now is really, really good, too. So, technically, Jordy did win an NBA championship. He was on the Cavs team when they won with LeBron the first time. So he is technically got an NBA championship. So yeah, he's a very interesting person. Like I said, English is not his first language, but he's very good at connecting with people. And I can tell he has a drive and a competitiveness and an innovation. And he's just going to be a fresh voice. and somebody that'll come in and hopefully re-energize the guy's enthusiasm for playing the game. And if this whole sports psychology side to him can allow for really good bonding between the Raptors and garner more better chemistry than last year, that's just a plus right there. That's a bonus and an upgrade from Nick from last year right away, because the chemistry on our team sucked so bad last year. And in sports psychology, you got to think there's a whole section of it trying to figure out how you can get your teammates better around you. He probably thinks about that way more. In fact, one of his studies is really interesting. His study was on what the other offensive players are doing on the play when somebody's taking a shot or moving to play. He's found that if people are doing certain things with their body, even though they're not shooting, the shot is more likely to go in. So this is the weird kind of stuff that he may be telling our players that not normal coaches will talk to them. It's like, all right, if Pascal's putting up the shot, y'all, you need to do this with your body or position yourself in this because it will give him a higher percent chance of making the shot. Like, he's done research like that, where he looks at like the people off the ball who have nothing, not touching the ball or anything, where they are and what happens and how likely the shot goes in. And he's looking at all those stats there. So this dude is serious, and he's really, really smart. He's really, really good at connecting with people and getting on their level. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about him. In fact, everybody in those articles and everything I've read is saying this guy's a hot shot. This dude is an innovator, and this dude is going to be a very good NBA coach. So I say, why not? I'm signing off on this quick because, listen, I read all this stuff about him yesterday. I was like, holy crap, this. Okay, it's like this. Yeah, let's get Jordy. If we get Jordi Fernandez tomorrow as our head coach, I will be smiling really big and wide because I will know that we have the next kind of Nick Nurse type that may be this kind of like mad scientist, but in a nicer way. Like, think about it that way. What if we have all the innovation and interesting, like on the fly kind of moves that Nick had, but we have a guy that's actually nice to the players that can actually like get in their shoes and talk to them eye to eye and like actually have a good relationship with them and respect. Like, I'm excited to see what he would do with Koloko. I'm excited to see what he would do with Scotty. I'm excited to see what kind of offense he would set up. In fact, one of his specialties is offense. He's a very, very good at figuring out offensive stuff. And, part of the Sacramento Kings success this past year had a lot to do with Jordi Fernandez, just so y'all know. We know, listen, he's coached quite a few NBA games. In fact, when we played Sacramento in Toronto this year, he ended up finishing the game. Remember, Mike Brown came off the court and came after, what was his name? Andy Nagy. It was either him or Brent Haskell. I get those guys confused, those two refs. He came after Brent Haskell or Andy Nagy. It was one of those two guys, and he got thrown out of the game. Well, Jordy coached the Kings against the Raptors in that game to like a 1 or 2 point victory by the end of the game. That was a very disappointing game for the Raptors. I remember it was just like, Mike Brown got thrown out. Now we can really win. Well, no, Jordy stepped into his shoes and he coached the Kings to a good victory. In fact, he coached quite a few games for them this season, and he has got a lot of experience taking over for Mike Brown when he steps away. Mike Brown has had some really good underrated success in his NBA coaching career. In some ways he gets sullied, but he's done very, very well in his entire career. He's a unanimous coach of the year right now. Think about this. That is his number one dude, his number one guy that stands next to him and helps him out the best. I'm all about this. I mean, I can't go wrong with Sergio either. I like Sergio too, but if we hire Jordy, I'm going to be really excited, because I really do know that he is going to be a guy who can connect with every single one of our Raptors, and he will get the best out of them. And I'm really excited about that. In some ways, Nick was not getting the best out of the Raptors. And I was worried about that. I've been worried about that. We have such a talented team. They should be way better than they are. In some ways, I'm starting to think that Nick's goodbye speech is good luck with those guys. That's just what we're going to get. That Masai gave us Nick's goodbye, and it's just always going to be good luck with those guys, whatever. That's what I'm going to make it in my own head, just so I can move past all this bullshit with him, because I know we're not going to get any statement from him. So the official goodbye from Nick is the one that Masai told us. Good luck with those guys. Whatever, Nick. Good luck with your guys now, seriously, in Philadelphia. And yeah, our guys are good. Trust me, you're going to see. Yeah, you just because you didn't know how to use them, you're going to find out next year when a young hotshot, younger than you, is going to come in and show how to do this team right the better way. That's right. If it's not him, then maybe it's the old master, Sergio. Now, Monique reminded me on Facebook just a little while ago saying that Sergio, if he wins on Friday, they have a game in the semifinals. He goes to the finals. So they do not complete their season on Friday. So they will be continuing to play. So we'll have to see. And then I saw a clip with Sergio on Instagram, or no, it's Twitter, talking about how he has a coaches summit coming up in Italy at the end of June. It's like June 30th into like July the 5th or something like that, where he has a whole bunch of international coaches coming in and they're just having a summit and conference talking about coaching and stuff like that. And he's running it. So I don't know what's going on with Sergio. We're gonna find out real soon who our coach is, real soon. But good morning to y'all. That's right, Race Mode. Who's our coach? Well, maybe it's Jordi Fernandez, maybe it's Sergio. It could be one of these mystery men that we're wondering. Last night, Monty Williams, late last night, getting signed to be the next head coach of the Detroit Pistons, making history as the highest paid coach in NBA history, making $12 million a year. Popovich made $11.5 million this past year. But now Monty is the highest paid coach in the NBA at Detroit. He's going to get $72 million over 5 years. And honestly, that is overpaying. But I know why they had to do that. You know, Coach Monty Williams was going to be able to sit at home and just get $7 million for the next 3 years from Phoenix. He didn't even have to work. He could just sit there and take the money. But once you take that contract with the new team, a much bigger contract, $12 million a year, and coach, you lose that money that was guaranteed you from Phoenix. So we are not on the hook to pay Nick Nurse $8 million next year because he took the Philadelphia job. So yeah, and everybody who's getting confused about that, it's not like these coaches can double their salaries. It's when they're off, when they go and take another job, their contract's void with the other team that they were on. So Monty doesn't get the $7 million from Phoenix and the $12 million from Detroit. He just gets the $12 million from Detroit, and that Phoenix stuff, they're off the hook. So in some ways, the former team's kind of happy if their former coach gets a job and they don't have to pay them for doing nothing. So yeah, that's kind of the situation there with that. Mike's here. Good to see Logical Raptors Fanatic. Go check out Mike's YouTube channel, Logical Raptors Fanatic. Always good stuff coming out on Saturdays. Check out Mike's channel. Yeah, salute the real ones, Project Truth always. I think everyone's tensions are high at the moment with so many questions on things and feeling exhausted with certain team people. I'm going to cool down on my opinions. Ooh, Mike, you're feeling burnt out. It sounds like me. I'm excited. I'm energized, man. I know this is a question mark period and it's a little uncertain, but I feel like something good's coming. I really do. I feel like something good's coming, Mike. So hang in there and don't get jaded. Stay positive, my friend. All right, Van Hoot's here. Good to see Van Hoot. We got all the content creators in here today. We got the triumvirate of Van Hoot, Logical Raptors Fanatic, and the Raptors Freak in the house. Basketball Rewind. Check out his YouTube channel. Always a great discussion. Lately, Van Hoot has been concentrating on the draft prospects for this draft coming up and having lively discussions with his cohorts on his channel. I love seeing your stuff, Van Hoot. Let's see. All right, I'll keep it very simple. Yes, he fits. He outlined that versatility is important, but optimizing efficiency in specific roles is just as important. He has the smarts and ability to empower players. I'm just going to guess Van Hoot's talking about Jordy. Yeah, I like everything I found out about him. He is young, but in some ways that's really good because, fresh ideas, fresh approach. His style coming from Spain, he has an international influence. He can mash that up with his real experience being a bench coach in the NBA also. Like he's in touch with the NBA and he understands it. But like I'm telling you, his ability to connect with people and make them feel important and really know how to like motivate them is going to be really crucial to this. That, in some ways, Nick didn't understand how to motivate some of our Raptors correctly. It really showed last year. Well, Jordy, he could have multiple facets of how he connects with the players and gets stuff out of them, maybe a little bit more fleshed out than Nick would have had. As far as like, because of his sports psychology background, he may know how to be hard or soft with different players in different situations to manipulate them to get the best out of them. So I'm excited about that for sure. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Lots of discussion points today on top of Jordy, Zach Edey, Monty Williams, Fred VanVleet, rumored to Philly. First game of the finals tonight. That's right, Fiercely. It's never a dull moment on the Raptor Freak channel. All these other Raptors content makers want to take the summer off. Well, let me get the workload, put it on my back, and let's go. Yeah, all right, let's talk about Zach Edey. Yesterday, a lot of the guys who were in the combine that were ready to go into the draft recommitted to going back to school. There was a whole list of them. I was amazed how many names I've heard, because in other years in past, you only hear like maybe 3 or 4 guys that would actually back out of the draft and go back and do their next year in university. But there was like 10 or 12 of those guys yesterday, including the player of the year from Purdue Boilermakers, Zach Edey. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm going to say Zach Edey, whatever. Different people say different stuff. But he is going back to school for his senior year. I guess the feelers and the combine and maybe the things that they found out and heard weren't very attractive. And he's like, well, I'm going to get my draft stock up by having another overpowering year with the Boilermakers in college basketball. So, yeah, there's quite a few names on that list. A lot of people decommitting from being eligible for the draft yesterday because the deadline was yesterday. They had to make their decision by yesterday. Well, a lot of them pulled the plug, and they're not interested in being this year's draft. They're going back to school. One of them included is Rutgers player named, what's his name? I think his name is, hang on. I'm going to go to Ron Harper Jr.'s thing because he's really happy about this, obviously. His name is Cliff. Big Cliff is coming back to Rutgers, and this is really good because they just had their big prospect that was supposed to be the man for them this year go the NIL route and leave Rutgers. So now their main guy from last year is going to come back because he took his name out of eligibility for the draft also. So a lot of Rutgers family is really happy about that. So, yeah, there we go. All right, good stuff. Cool Cat is in the house. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. So much going on. Yes, I saw the article on our fan base being the smartest. The education system, I was thinking about that in spaces where folks raise their hands to speak. Mute abusers. Yeah, I've seen I've been on Twitter recently and I've seen like, whoa, there's a space like Cool Cat and Kareem were telling me about. Get in the spaces, Lex, and get in there and talk. I'm a little scared to. Like, I don't want to come in there and be like, yeah, I'm the Raptors Freak. I've got a channel. And they'll be like, who the fuck are you? I don't know. But maybe I should try and get involved in those a little bit more. I was very pleasantly surprised by that, but not really, because honestly, a lot of it has to do with the difference in education system between Canada and the U.S. That was one of my parents' biggest regrets is that me growing up in Florida, I didn't go to school in Canada and get a Canadian education. I got a Florida public school education, but hey, I did all right. But still, there is a big difference. And I could tell with my particular lifestyle of being in Canada all the time, even though I lived in the States, that it was a lot different. I had peers here that were going to school here, and some of the stuff they were learning, what I was learning down there, it was very, very different. So up here in Canada, we should be proud that we take more pride in our education. Now, with Ford cutting budgets for education, strangleholding them, and all this kind of stuff, it's messing things up. Don't do that. We have a good education system up here, and we need to continue to do that. The states don't want to have good education because they want to control their people like sheep. Well, we don't want to be sheep up here. Always further your studies and educate yourself, regardless of school or not, because that's our biggest weapon to fight against evil. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people out there that want to keep a lot of people dumb so they can control everybody. So the smarter you are, the better. Trust me. Let's keep going. Tom Duke has got the dinosaur. He's got a basketball. He's got a brain, and he's got number one, baby. Raptors basketball fans are brainy number one. That's right, Mike. That's right, Tom. I love it. Fiercely saying soon our patience will be rewarded. Either Sergio or Jordy. I trust in Masai. However, seeing how Jordy has contributed to the Kings' resurgence, I think it'll be refreshing for the Raptors. I'm excited. I seriously am. Because listen, if he's going to get these guys excited with doing really crazy things in practice and maybe just having like an experience to him, he's probably pretty cool. He's probably got an accent and he's probably like very worldly. And he's probably got all kinds of crazy stories to tell people. I mean, his work with those guys I named earlier, Kyrie, LeBron, and Shaquille. You got to think about it. He was on the Cavs coaching team when Shaq was on the Cavs with LeBron. That time. You remember around that time. That is a really interesting kind of people to work with. And, he can tell stories. Yeah, when I was in practice one day, I told LeBron this and this and this. Like, well, you telling LeBron this and this? No, this can go a long way with people like Ron Harper Jr. and Scotty Barnes and Delano Bant and stuff like that. So it's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. And I am totally signing off on this. He's young, he's fresh, and we're going to have to see. Hopefully, he can come here. Hopefully, very soon. We'll see. We just have to be patient. Patience will pay off. And now that Detroit has found their coach, there's only 2 jobs that are open, us and Phoenix. And we'll have to see what happens with Phoenix. I'm hearing more and more that maybe Doc Rivers. If it's not Doc Rivers, they'll just hire their assistant that was underneath Monty Williams, Kevin Young, and he may be the new head coach of the Phoenix Suns for them. I don't know. It'd be really weird if just out of the blue they hired like Coach Budenholzer or something, or maybe we do. That'd be crazy too. I still am holding out this kind of weird idea that Masai and Bobby may have they may be like really doing what they normally do, like a submarine under the water. Nobody knows what they're saying or doing. And all this talk that we've talked about, JJ Redick, Steve Nash, Jordy, whoever, and it's not even them. They just come out and name somebody just out of the blue that none of us had talked about in the last month or so. And it's just going to be a shock. Like, what if they came out this weekend and they said, our new coach is Jerry Stackhouse? It could be very much something like that with them. I wouldn't put it past them. We know Masai and Bobby don't like to tell anybody what they're doing. And it could very well be that all of a sudden they come out with a name that we're like, holy crap, nobody mentioned him. Nobody talked about him. What? All of a sudden this dude's our coach? And we'll be like, holy crap, this guy's awesome. It may be very well like that. So I think it's either going to be Jordy, Sergio, or the mystery person, whether it's a known person or an unknown person. That's the crazy thing about it. They could really come out of left field and be like, this is who our new coach is. And we're like, wait, nobody said anything about this person in the media. What is this? And it'd be really cool. All right, let's see. G saying rebuild will be painful. Why do people want that? Yeah. A lot of people in our nation are not smart fans, even though we are the smartest fans in the league. And they just don't understand basketball. There's so many people that are casuals that just came along recently in the last couple of years that really don't understand what it takes to win a championship. They're really in this microwave culture where everything gets cooked up quick and it happens fast. Denver is exactly a good example of how long it takes to really cultivate and build the team up to get to where they are at this point. They have done this for like 8 years. They've been running with the same kind of like mentality and what they've been trying to do, and they're finally getting it paid off at this point. That's what I'm saying. Patience is a virtue. And there's not a lot of patience in fan nations around the NBA at this point. And that's part of the problem. Then you add in the social media buzz, then there's influence. And then all of a sudden, people are tearing up their teams every 2 years instead of waiting like 5 or 6 years to really give the teams a chance to congeal and go forward in a way that they can actually show what they're capable of. You can't see anything from too early. And so many teams are blowing stuff up way too soon in the league right now. In fact, the teams that will win championships going forward will be on a cycle like the Denver Nuggets, building towards it. And the patience will be paid off to those kind of teams like Nikola Jokic, Michael Malone, Jamal Murray, and the Denver Nuggets tonight. Yeah. So that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Mike saying, I started looking into the CBA. So far, I'm seeing a trend of limiting teams from pushing beyond the luxury tax number. They're making it harder for teams to sign guys past the luxury tax number. Parity. In some ways, I don't mind this, Mike. The parity is very interesting. The NBA is, I really do think the NBA is trying to look on the up and up and be legit and stop making all these kind of shadowy things about, they will always help the Lakers and the Celtics. Well, we saw they want to prove something. They put them out. They're both out, whether they wanted to or not. They're out, different things like this Eric Lewis thing is going on right now. Listen, this is hilarious. Let me talk about this real quick. And we'll do the refs tonight too, while we're doing this. Mark Stein is reporting on Twitter that the NBA has announced its referees for the finals. And for the first time in 5 years, Eric Lewis is not among them. An NBA spokesman says regarding Eric Lewis in the social media post, we are continuing to review the matter and he will not be working the finals. This is very interesting. Like I'm telling you, he's about to get scapegoated and he's going to lose his job this summer. And this will be very interesting. They're going to make him an example. The refs they are putting in the finals. I'll give you the list real quick. It's all the usual suspects, and some of them are in the game tonight, obviously. Mark Davis, Ed Malloy, Scott Foster, Kevin Scott, John Goebel, Josh Tiven, David Guthrie, James Williams, Bill Kennedy, and Zach Zarba are the 10 refs that will be working. And also Tony Brothers and Courtney Kirkland. There's 12 of them. Tony Brothers and Courtney Kirkland. That's the list of the refs that will be working in the finals. Now tonight they've got Mark Davis as the crew chief in Denver for game 1 of the finals. David Guthrie is the second ref, and Ed Malloy is the third ref. Mark Davis just slightly favors the Denver Nuggets. David Guthrie very, very much favors the Nuggets, and then Ed Malloy, he favors the Nuggets also. So all three of the refs favor the Nuggets statistically in the history of the NBA over the Miami Heat. So we'll have to probably see a Nuggets game 1 victory at home and game 1 of the finals tonight. The referees are in their favor. So yeah, I think it's really interesting that Mark Lewis is not going to be refereeing the finals. He probably would have if this scandal hadn't happened to him. We'll have to see how much the NBA wants to show that they're like this. Maybe he will be a casualty, and they're showing, yeah, the refs can get in trouble. They're not like an old boy network where they just get anything they want and they can protect themselves like the cops or something. No, they can be had and they will be gotten and they can be out the door. So we'll have to see. I'm sure the referees union is going to fight really hard on this one. They'll use all kinds of crazy lawyer speak about why it's okay for Eric Lewis to do that kind of stuff. But we'll have to see. This is going to be an interesting story as the summer goes on to hear what happens with Eric Lewis. All right, let's keep going. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex and Raptors freaks. I'm 40 years old today. Fuck, bam, bam. Happy birthday to Bradley. 40 years old. You're the same age as Jordy. If he gets hired the new coach, you will be the same age as the Raptors coach. You know, in some ways, I worry about like my age. It used to be like, oh man, I'm older than most of the players in the NBA. Oh man, I'm starting to be as old as the coaches now. It's that kind of thing, Bradley. So happy birthday, Bradley. Gemini. I hope you have a great day, Bradley, and be safe if you're working. If you didn't, you're taking the day off. You have a good time otherwise. Naco the Nacho is in the house. Check out Gerald Mayhew. Anytime around Toronto, you may see his name on a marquee at a comedy club doing stand-up. You want to go check out some good stand-up. Naco the Nacho is your man. His name is Gerald Mayhew, and you may see him on the lineup at Just for Laughs or wherever. This dude's all over the city. So Cap, yeah, this dude is on the stage. So go check out Gerald. Seriously. Let's see what he's saying. Sacramento's offense is great. Hoping for Jordy. I think we're getting an explosive guard in the draft. I've seen mock trades with Anthony Simmons and the third pick coming to us. We get that. And Maxey, we're doing good. I don't know, Gerald. I don't know if we need both Maxey and Simons. In some ways, they're the same player. We just need one of them in the whole comings and goings of things. The big worry is if we lose Fred, we need a replacement at point guard. And this is what a lot of Raptors fans are talking about the last couple of days. If Fred leaves, who is going to play point guard for next year? A lot of fans are not ready to give the reins to Scotty just straight up. That Scotty may not be ready, and we may lose a lot if we try and start Scotty as starting point guard. So in some ways, we do kind of need a backup, a guy who's coming in is going to take over as a starting point guard if we move Fred. Otherwise, it's just smart in some ways. I don't know. Those guys would do pretty good. I mean, Maxey or Simons, if they somehow find their way onto our roster for next year, I'm not going to be upset. Those are two young players that I really, really like. And they would add a dimension to our team that we haven't had in a while. A very quick young guard that can get around like that. Look out. G's saying he'd be thrilled with Jordy or Sergio. Yeah, I like either one. In some ways, I kind of am leaning more towards Jordy because in some ways, Sergio is older. I don't mind that. But in some ways, it's kind of like, let's get fresh here. Let's get like somebody who's very much going to come in with a whole different kind of attitude and ideas. Somebody who has a fresh mind that may have some things up his sleeve that the league hasn't seen because he's that kind of guy. I do really like the fact that he is a part of both the Denver Nuggets and Sacramento Kings offensive schemes for the last couple years. You can talk about the Denver Nuggets scheme in the last couple years as like this year, what they're doing on offense is so efficient. And, Sacramento is very efficient also. There's something the Raptors need on their offense is better efficiency. So hopefully this can transfer over if we hire Jordi Fernandez to cultivate more better efficiency on the offensive end. As far as less missed shots, less of this like dumb, like what was that kind of like shot selection, all that kind of stuff, better positioning, different kinds of things like that. Let's see. Tom's saying, I agree. Jordy can be successful either way we go. I'm not a rebuild proponent. You know that. Also happy that Masai and Bobby aren't either. I think, but who knows what Masai's conjuring up. Yeah, I don't think he's going to tear it down. In fact, we're seeing kind of like a circling of the wagons with the Raptors and kind of like, let's get who we have still. Nick's gone, whatever. Adrian's gone. Hey, Fred, I don't know. But the rest of them, in some ways, we're kind of coming down together as a team and kind of like hunkering down together. Because, listen, yesterday, let's do the Instagram check real quick. All right. First of all, Ron Harper Jr. talking, very happy that Cliff's coming back to Rutgers. Very, very happy about that. He's got his May photo dump. There's a cute little dog in the picture. I love that dog. And Ron Harper, I don't know if that's your dog, Ron, but it's a cute dog. And then he's at the Rogers Center last night, y'all. Ron Harper Jr. and some more of the Raptors were at the Blue Jays games last night. Too bad that the Blue Jays lost 4-2 to Milwaukee. You know who else was at the game with them? Scotty Barnes and Joe Wieskamp. So it's really cool to see three of the Raptors at the Blue Jays game last night with each other. Scotty, Ron Harper Jr., and Joe Wieskamp, at least at the Blue Jays game all together with each other. So that's really cool. As I said, Zach Edey saying he's back. He is going to be back with the Purdue Boilermakers. That's on my stories there. Let's see. More training with TJ and Taylor Young with Thaddeus, really making those kids work hard. The offseason is the season for these youngsters. While dad is off work, well, he's putting them to work. That's for sure. It's really cool. And I think Thad's celebrating his anniversary with his wife, Shanika. Nice picture there of the wedding rings. Very cool. And then, there's Wheezy's post of him being at the Rogers Center, and there's Scotty's. And it looks like they're at the same position of the court in the 200 level in a box. So they were obviously together. So there was a contingency of Raptors that were at the Blue Jays game last night, including Scotty, Joe Wieskamp, and Ron Harper Jr. If more of them were there, they may have been. Who knows? Maybe Delano was there too. We just didn't see it. Let's keep going. Randolph Phillips is here. Beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Good morning. The Eastern Conference would be a battle of the coaches. The teams may be invisible and less talked about. What with this money that Monty got yesterday? In some ways, it's like, dude, this guy's getting paid than most of the players on his team now. That is very interesting to me. It's an interesting thing. Everybody's like, why does Monty want to even work? He's just going to get paid $7 million to just sit at home. He could just do that. Well, the competitor in him and the extra $5 million, that was enough. It's crazy. There's incentives in his deal that his deal could end up 8 years at $100 million. And at that point, he would be making $16 million a year if he gets to that point where he gets the extra 2 add-on years for that much more money on top of the 72. He will make $16 million a year over the course of this contract if he can survive it and make it all the way through. That's a lot of money. $100 million to a coach for 8 years of work. 8 years of work. Crazy. Yeah. G saying Ron and Scotty were at the Blue Jays game together. Yeah. And Joe Easy too. Joe Easy was there also. I like the fact that Joe's there too. In some ways I worry about Joe's an Iowa guy. I'm like, oh, Nick's leaving. Maybe he's leaving too. No, he's not leaving. He's under contract with us. And we really, like, in some ways, I want Joe Easy to be this secret weapon next year for us on threes. Like, he could really be way better than Matt Thomas. He could be at least Matt Thomas for us, if not a better one, because he can rebound. He's taller and he's a little bit better defender. I just want to unleash Joe Easy. And I don't feel like Nick gave him the right kind of shots at what he could have done for us last year. He's a really good example of a specialist kind of player that just couldn't find a place in Nick Nurse's crazy scheme of being 6'9" and having everybody good at everything. These guys on the Heat, they're in the finals right now. Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. These guys are shooters. They're not really athletes. They don't run all over the place. And well, you can figure out a way to play Joe Wieskamp. I'm sorry, Nick Nurse. And next year, I want to see our new coach utilize him in an effective way where we're getting threes off the bench off a three-point specialist like Joe Weezy. I know Joe looked humiliated the last time he played in a Raptors game. He went 0 for, and he looked really bad in that Milwaukee game on the last day of the season. And I know this summer, Joe Weezy's in that gym, shooting, and he's going to get his target on right. And if he's that kind of guy and he's that kind of competitor and he has pride in his jump shot, he said he was the best shooter when in his draft class. Well, he has some stuff to prove. And I want a coach that's going to put him in a position to go out there and prove some stuff. And Nick never gave him that chance. So I loved seeing Joe with Ron and Scotty. And once again, these guys are showing they're together in the summer. They're here in Toronto. These are good things. Gary Trent Jr. at OVO Center, Chris Boucher at OVO Center, Christian Coloco at OVO Center. The Raptors are in Toronto, and they are still without a coach, but they are still working. And they are still committed, and we are going forward, and we're going to do something. That's right. Van Hoot saying, I'm not saying today. I appreciate the fact that you admitted you may have been wrong, freak. Takes a real one to do that. Much respect. You know, by now, I'm Raptors through and through. Take care. It's all good, Van Hoot. Listen, man, if we're dumb, if we can't admit when we're wrong, and it's really the kind of thing in today's society, the more and more when new information comes to you, you may need to amend your opinions and your viewpoints on certain things. And stop being so stubborn and stop being like, oh, well, it's just this way because it's this way. Why? It's because I made it this way. I think this way. Well, the facts point to other things, and you may need to admit you're wrong and get with the times. And people that aren't like that, they're the ones that are causing a lot of problems. They're the dogmatic folks that only go on this and it has to be this way. And they're really stuck in the 50s. And they're really hard to deal with. So, yeah, we got to move past that kind of mentality and be willing to move with the times as new facts come up and amend how we feel. That is what science is. Science is facts until something disproves it, and then there's new facts. And not enough people are getting with the new facts. I will do that, Van Hoot, I promise. Like I said, my whole reasoning for not wanting you guys to come after Fred and Nick during the season is I'm really trying to plug holes for the season. I want them to smooth sail during the season. We don't need all that noise. And it's the off season. Let's talk about it now. And we can get real into it now because there's nothing on stake. They're not playing games right now. It's not a distraction. So I'm more willing to come after Nick and other people from things that happen this season, not when they're in the middle of the fray. I know you understand that. It's all good, Van Hoot, and I appreciate you. All right, let's see. Monique is saying, good morning, everyone. Happy June. Raptors on the clock for a coach. That's right. It is June, and the draft is this month. And the Raptors are on the clock, as much as Monique is saying this. Yeah, you know what? Listen, another one went down last night. There's only 2 openings now in the NBA, Toronto and Phoenix. Who's going to get the coach first and who's going to be the last team picking a coach? It doesn't matter. We don't care. Y'all go take all your coaches already. Take our old coaches, our premium doctor coaches. Take them. We will find the best of what y'all didn't see or care about or want. We will find the best. Trust me. Masai Ujiri is not just a scout of players that can play in the NBA. He goes around internationally, looks at everybody around the world. He knows how they can play. He is a scout for personnel also. He's a scout for coaches. He's a scout for trainers. He's a scout for every single occupation you can have in a basketball franchise. And that's why some of the best people in the NBA work for Toronto, because his scouting is not limited to players. He's scouting everybody. And I'm sure he's always kind of got an eye on coaches more than we even think. You know, he may be paying a lot more attention than people think to the coaches, even with Nick Nurse looking like he was pretty safe with his job. Yeah, well, we're going to go find a new one now. Let's see. Shir Khan's here. Good morning to the Raptor Freak Rookie of the Year for this year. Shir Khan joined our family this year, and he was such a good positive force and so fun. He won Rookie of the Year. He's our Rookie of the Year for this year. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Raps have come up with nice finalists for head coach. Can't go wrong with either one. Just hope they don't get our dark horse, Nash. As far as Fred VanVleet trade, I'm okay with it as long as it's good players. Yeah, I think with Fred, it's really going to be a sign and trade. It'll be a kind of thing like Kyle, where we put him in a package and we're getting something coming back to us. And I think Bobby and Masai are smart. they're going to have a point guard coming back to us. So whatever team's going to get Fred, we're going to probably get somebody that can replace him in the positional chart of the Raptors. I don't think we'll go rudderless, where we're like absolutely have no point guard. That would be really crazy. So I think that that's what's going to happen. As far as the coach stuff that Shirkan's saying here, Steve Nash is the dark horse, but I don't know. I'm with him. I'm not about getting him hired, but if Masai hires him, there'll be a very good reason why. Trust me. That's the thing. We got to trust Masai. Whatever decision he makes, if he hires Steve Nash, that means Steve Nash has a gumption and he has something to prove. Like he has an axe to grind. Like he wants to totally wipe the taste out of his mouth from Brooklyn and all the bullshit that happened there with those prima donnas. And he wants to show that he can coach a team without that kind of problems and be very good at coaching. So that's the whole thing. That's what I'm going to say. If he hires Steve Nash, that's what I'm going to say is that this dude is ready because he wants to make his name good in the coaching ranks in the NBA once again, because he's been sullied by an unfortunate, unfair situation with Hall of Famers on his team being crazy. So that's what I'll say if they do hire Nash. I agree. He's not the ideal candidate. He's not exactly the one I want. And I'm totally more for Jordy or Sergio at this point. Seymour's saying, morning, gang, fam. Raptor Freaks, rely on Masai. I like that. That rhymes, Seymour. I like that. I'm going to give you a dunk for that. That's a new one. We've got trust in Masai, of course, but I have never heard rely on Masai. I like that. That's a new one. That's really good. Rely on Masai. I think that's really so rhymey that we can make this get some traction in our fan nation. So y'all, let's just start doing the hashtag that Seymour just created. Rely on Masai. I love it. I love it, Sheriff Seymour Babe. All right. The professional is here, and he has been a little bit of an adversary in the last couple of days, but he's a Philly fan, and, he's been hot and cold. We'll see what he's saying today. What do you think about Shannon Sharpe leaving undisputed? Do you think Skip caused him to leave? I just ordered my Nick Nurse #1 jersey. We finally found our Phil Jackson, our Coach Pop, Sixers, baby. I love it. I love it. I want to break this down right. All right, I'm going to do this justice. I think this is great that Shannon's breaking up the show with Skip. In fact, they were annoying to me. I never thought they liked each other. Like, of course, part of it is Skip. But, Shannon Sharpe is also getting a little too big for his britches in some ways, too. Did y'all know this about Shannon Sharpe? His house was burglarized recently, and some people are saying that it has something to do with his beef with Ja Morant and all that crazy stuff that happened, that maybe there's like Ja Morant fans or something like that out there that went in, broke into his house and stole like $1 million worth of jewelry from Shannon Sharpe. Crazy. Yeah, that happened like in the last 2 months. I don't know. Listen, I don't really watch those shows, so I don't really care. Like Shannon Sharpe, whatever. He's a football guy. I don't understand why he talks so much about basketball. This motherfucker played football. He was a tight end for the Denver Broncos. And why the hell is he all up in basketball stuff all the time? Like, seriously, it's like Fred said, if you don't play this sport, why don't you go do football, Shannon Sharpe? Oh, they don't want you there? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I don't give a shit about those talking heads. Those guys are idiots. They can do whatever they want. I don't care. Now, as far as the rest of your comment, this is awesome. So you got a Nick Nurse jersey. They're making Nurse jerseys, and the 10 years, the 5 years of him being a head coach, I've never seen one single Nurse jersey in Toronto. That sounds weird. Like, do coaches have jerseys? That sounds really weird, professional. You go ahead and get a Nurse jersey. That's fine. That's cool. You know what? I will agree. Nick Nurse is very much like Phil Jackson. He is probably his hero. Like he's like him as far as like he likes outside weird things like music and jazz. He's the kind of guy that will take them to a sweat lodge and make them like sweat and like find some epiphany in their like sweatiness. This is the kind of coach that Nick is. He is very much like Phil Jackson. In fact, he rips a lot of Phil Jackson's kind of philosophies about making things fun from Phil and the outside and interests and stuff. And he's a little eccentric like Phil too. So yeah, that's a good comparison. Now the Coach Pop thing, well, that's what we thought we had. Well, let's just go this way. All right. If he can turn on us, he can turn on y'all too at some point. Trust me. He's not to be trusted. You guys can have him. We don't want him here because we know down the road he's going to fuck us over again. And when somebody you can't trust, that's why you have to fire them. That's the whole reason why we fired him, is because he gave up on us and we couldn't trust him anymore. Well, how long will that take with y'all? It may not take that long, trust me, especially with y'all's fan base and the media and how y'all hound people, what y'all did to Doc Rivers. If you do that kind of stuff with Nick, who knows? He's that kind of guy that he could get in his ego and he could start doing destructive team things to your team on the down low just to get back at y'all. Because he's that petty. Trust me. We know up here. We're finding out on his exit now how petty he is. So, yeah, you think you're going to get a lot of years out of him? I do not think so. In fact, I think that you will have him as your coach under 4 years. I don't think you will have him as your coach longer than 4 years. He's going to fail, and y'all will fire him within 4 years. I said initially this week he'd be done in 2 years, and he might. He might be done in 2 years with y'all. So, yeah, you think you got to coach Popovich for life? Nope. And once the other thing is this motherfucker's got clutch on his side. He may get a good contract from you, but when is his eyes going to get bigger with dollar signs? And then he starts railroading you guys into losses just so he can get out of your contract and go and get paid even more money by the Lakers. Yeah, that kind of stuff could happen to y'all. Just so you know, they did it to us. Don't be surprised if he does it to y'all too. So there you go, professional. There you go. Cool Cat saying that is why I want Sergio to be the head coach for 2 years. Jordy, the associate head coach now, and our head coach in 2 years. Jordy gets mentored in Raps culture in 2 years from Sergio. Win-win. You know, if we can get both of them, that's fantastic. I would love to have both Sergio and Jordy on our bench, but I don't know how that would work. And I don't know if Sergio is willing to come over here just to be assistant again, although maybe his friendship and knowing Jordy will work really well in this and they will be fine. Let's just see how it all comes out. Cool Cat. The makeup of what our coaching staff is going to be very interesting. I'm sure if Jordy comes here, you know, he'll have to make a whole staff. I don't know how many people he'll steal from Sacramento or Denver, but he may have to make a whole completely new staff for himself. And maybe Sergio is on it. I don't know. I'm hearing that Emi Udoka is going to steal 3 assistants from Boston to come to Houston to coach with him. That's even worse for Boston. You know, Coach Joe, holy crap, man. He's not going to be a good coach next year. Watch. Especially if he has a brain drain of 3 of his, you know, Damon already left. Stoudemire left and took the Georgia Tech job in the middle of the season. You notice he wasn't involved in the playoffs at all. You didn't see Mighty Mouse on the bench for Boston. No, he left. So now he lost Damon, the number 1, in the middle of the season. Now he's going to lose 3 more assistants. Who the hell is going to be coaching in Boston with Coach Joe? They may have to fire Coach Joe just to get somebody new to come in with new coaches with him. Because I don't know who Coach Joe knows to have come in there. I'm sure he's got people, but the quality of them is probably going to go down. Trust me. Yeah. Dana's here. Good to see Dana. It's been a bit. Always good to see a good Raptor freak like Dana. Hey, everyone. Good to see you. Hope you're having a nice day on a sunny Thursday here in Toronto. The first day of the month, June, baby. Yeah, we're in June. Game 1 of the finals. Seymour saying, I'm done with Nick Nurse. Fuck him. In Philly and Boston. Fuck the whole league. Go Raptors. Yes. Yes, Seymour. Yes. You know, at certain points, I've told people I'm not an NBA fan. I think the NBA is crooked. I'm a fan of the Raptors, and they just happen to be a part of the NBA. And that's the way I look at it, because in some ways, it's very much like that. In some ways, we hate the NBA because of how tarnished and weird it is. But we are that struggle, that saga of the Raptors team, the underdog, the Canadian team, trying to make it happen no matter what in such a crazy landscape that's ever evolving and parity and weirdness and changing of rules and 7-foot Frenchmen coming here to play for the Spurs. You know, this is a tough landscape. And Masai Ujiri is steering the ship. And oh my gosh, we got to rely on Masai. That's right. We're going to get it right. And fuck you, Bully. Fuck you, Boston. Fuck you, Philly. Fuck you, Nick Nurse. Yes. Cool Cat saying, at the professional, glad that you are happy with your new coach. Good luck to all. Make sure you encourage everyone to get really fit, especially Embiid. Cool Cat. I can tell how Cool Cat would say that. And very kind of sarcastic, kind of like, yeah. Make sure everyone gets really fit. Cool. Cool Cat. I love it. She's being so nice, but not really. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Some people are really mad at me for being salty towards Nick. Come on, y'all. You do not understand why we're salty towards him. He ruined our season. He absolutely took us downhill, and we could have done something. Look, the Miami Heat are in the finals. We could have been the Miami Heat if Nick Nurse had been correctly him. instead of being some sort of weird clutch agent, kind of trying to do some weird shit with our team this year. Holy crap. Cowboys saying, let's go. Raptors, the dominoes are starting to fall. New coach and trades are coming. That's right. All in its right order. The coach, the draft, the free agency. Bam. Let's see what's going to come down the pipe. Seymour saying, salute to Cowboys, salute to Seymour Pape, and salute to Bradley. Yes, y'all, tonight, more WNBA action. If you have a fantasy team in our fantasy league, make sure you set up your lineup. That's right. Logical saying, sorry about yesterday, Cool Cat. I really respect your opinion. I need to research more about the new CBA. It's all good, Mike. And I'm sure Cool Cat wasn't that offended about anything yesterday, unless it was something that happened I didn't see. I didn't see anything too weird. Mike, thank you for getting into the CBA more deeper, because it's something that just makes my eyes water and just glaze over. I'm like, oh, I don't want to read about CBA and all this kind of stuff. Please, Mike, thank you for being an expert on this. It helps cover up some of the holes as far as things with this channel. If you're knowledgeable on this and I'm not, Seymour saying Van Vliet might be joining Nick in Philly. Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. All right, let's look at Fred real quick, because there was interesting things about Fred's Instagram yesterday. Freddie was wearing Raptors pants the other day when he was working out, and he was wearing a purple hoodie, and I like seeing all that. But yesterday he was wearing black. He's wearing all black in his suit. Hang on, I want to get, where is he? There he is, right there. He's wearing all black, and he's working out yesterday, and really cool with the weights. But then we see a picture of him with his brother Darnell, and Darnell is standing next to him, and he's wearing a Raptors shirt. And I like seeing that. The Darnell's still showing the Raptors colors on him. It's still in the family, and that's good. But I don't know how to read Fred right now. In some ways, it's a very weird situation with him, where it's like, we don't know, like, he could be so loyal to us that he is going to stick around, and it'd be great. But I don't know. Like, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of things happening. We just got to let the dust settle, and we'll see where Fred is in the next month or so. It's all going to get sorted out, I'm sure, by some point, early July at least. So we'll have to see. Professional saying, it keeps timing me out 5 minutes. My comments are frozen. Well, I have such a policy of reading every single comment. If I don't let the timer, I'll be here all day. It's really to stretch things out. So if you have something to say, get it in that comment, and realize you can't comment again for 5 minutes. It's just how it is. It's just me trying to get my stream time down. Cool Cat saying, Mike, no worries. We don't know the full impact of the CBA as yet. Still new. I hope you are right that we can keep 3 max players. I've heard that. I've heard that you can have at least 2 max players, super max, and then maybe like a third person that is max. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Mike knows this way better than me. I think it's like you can have 2 super max now, and then you can have a max also. All right, let me see where you guys are saying also in this. I love seeing everybody fill it up. So many different names. I love it. I love it. I love it. So much enthusiasm and stuff, even though we're in the middle of the summer and things are kind of crazy right now. All right, let me see. Oh, wow. You guys really did fill it up. This is fantastic. You guys can still comment for at least another 5 minutes, and then we'll probably shut it down, just so you know, an hour in. Let's see. Mike, no, that's Cowboy. Cowboy saying, respect, Seymour. And yeah, Fred, go to Philly. No problem. Let's get a player and some picks. Well, I mean, will they do maxi for him? Probably not. If they did maxi for him, I'd probably take that straight up. Fred for maxi right there. Boom. Let's go. Fiercely saying, Superfan responded to my comment under his post. He was very, very grateful for everything this country gave to him. Give him a moment. Let the dust settle. He's still our Canadian coach, etc. That's interesting. So Superfan Nav Bhatia actually responded to you, Fiercey, when you made a comment on his post when we talked about this yesterday. And he said this. He said he was very, very grateful for everything this country gave to him. Give him a moment. Let the dust settle. He's still our Canadian coach, etc. All right. All right. Well, for now, Nav, I'm going to go ahead and just take good luck with those guys as his statement given to us through Masai Ujiri. All right. Well, if Nav's saying that, maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows that Nick will make a statement finally at some point. I don't know. I just feel like we need it just for healing. And it is what it is. In some ways, I'm going to put this on the shelf and not worry about this anymore. We have more important things to think about, like who's going to be our next head coach in the draft and things like that. And I'll just let go of Nick Nurse and whatever. If he makes up some sort of statement at some point, okay. In some ways, I'll be like, yeah, this is kind of late, but Also, I'll be like, thank God he finally did it. Evelyn's saying, happy 40th birthday, Bradley. Yeah, happy 40th birthday to the Canadian cowboy, Bradley at Tada. If y'all need help around your house as far as trimming some hedges, moving some big furniture, cleaning your rain gutters, Tada is in the phone book in the 416 in Toronto, and they can come and help you around your house. They love doing it. And maybe Bradley might even bring you a pepper if you come and call him and get him to come down there. That's Tada. They're in the phone book, and it's Bradley's birthday. Happy birthday. G saying Team Spain plays team ball. Anyone from that pedigree understands how to play team ball. Yeah, the elegance of the Spanish pick and roll that we were talking about with Sergio yesterday. There's going to be like a mashup in Jordy's mind of stuff he's done with Team Nigeria, Team Spain, and then all the experience in the NBA, and mash it all together and make a hybrid of basketball, a style of Euro basketball meshed with the present day NBA game. Yeah, that sounds interesting to me. I like it. Monique saying Jordy looks like a younger Tony Parker. I didn't think about that. Maybe you're right. Maybe in some ways I could kind of see that. Jordy is just, honestly, he has a unique perspective on coaching because he is a sports psychologist. Most of these guys are not coming into the coaching ranks from a social science perspective. They're coming from a sports and physical education kind of perspective. Maybe they're coming from a sports management perspective. Maybe they're coming from just an athletic perspective of being a player before. This dude's coming from it like a psychologist, like a sociologist, like somebody who's looking at the whole scheme of things and kind of like, understanding what's up here in the brain. And that's something that could be very useful for us as a very stark contrast from Nick, because in some ways, Nick was very kind of like, win, just win, but maybe Jordy has a way of like, this is how we'll win. Or like, this is how we'll do it. Oh, you're in a bad place right now, Pascal. Let me sit down and talk to you for a second, and maybe I can help you feel better. I know Les Brown does a lot of good counseling for you when you watch him on YouTube, but I can maybe talk to you right now, and we can talk specifically about what's happening with the team right now, and maybe I can help you feel a little not so upset. And Pascal's like, oh, coach, you really care. And like, yeah, I am a caring coach. It's like, oh, this is so refreshing. My old coach was an asshole. It could be like that, where he's, because of his sports psychology, he's good at maybe keeping the guys up, keeping the guys ready, keeping the guys motivated, keeping the guys interested, and keeping the guys engaged. That is some of what we totally lacked this last year, is engagement and enthusiasm and interest in playing at a high level. There's some ways these guys were coasting. Seriously, the Raptors were coasting this year because the coach was coasting. It all filters down leadership. The coach starts coasting during the season. Well, you see the players start coast. And that was the Raptors season last year. Coasting, a lot of coasting. Let's see. David is here. Good to see David Saborin, a very powerful Raptor freak. Let's see what he's saying this morning. What is this talk of rebuild? Yeah, what is a rebuild? Is letting Fred walk and trading Pascal and OG for Derek White, Anthony Simons, Shannon Sharpe, and third pick, Scoot Henderson, blowing it up? Yeah, that sounds like blowing it up. I think once you get rid of more than one of our main guys, it's starting to look more like a rebuild. Now, Fred goes, it's kind of say it's not a rebuild totally yet if we keep the rest of the guys. But if we get Fred and OG out the door, then it's kind of getting closer to being a rebuild at that point. I don't know what the official threshold of a rebuild or a retool is, but I think it's when you get like 2 or 3 of the main starters are out, then that is a rebuild. But if you do like a retool, it's maybe one guy gets switched out, that kind of thing. I don't know. There's no technical term for it, I guess, which one is which. Mike's saying 12 mil for a coach is nuts. Don't worry, Lex. I'm positive, but there are changes happening and I'm reformulating how things are. That's why my thoughts are messy at the moment. It's creating confusion and tension at the moment. See, this is in some ways, this has been tough on Mike. I can tell this Nick Nurse stuff has really been tough on him because seriously, him and I were very much in his school of thought and who he was. I'm just really quick to move, Mike. I don't take any time. I'm vicious. Like, yeah, is this how it is? Okay, I'm not wasting time. I'm not going to mourn him. I'm not going to feel like, oh, man, this has changed. It's a transition, all this kind of stuff. No, he's dead to me as soon as he takes a Philadelphia job. And to you, maybe it's kind of like it's taking a little longer to kind of get used to the whole idea. He is the enemy now. And we got to get used to this, and we got to move forward and do what's best for Toronto, not for Nick Nurse. And I know, man, it's all right. We got time to sort it out this summer. It's probably confusing for the players also. And it's probably kind of like a really weird kind of tense time anyways. Like Chris Boucher said on his Instagram yesterday, sometimes you just want to know how it's going to all happen because you're impatient. And then now, like, patience and not worrying about it, all things will come through with faith. That is the right attitude right now. So we just have to have faith and rely on Masai, trust in Masai, and things will get the right decisions now for the Raptors going forward. We'll have to see. I really do think we're going to hire a coach by Sunday, but Josh Lewenberg said yesterday the timeline for the front office is up until next Friday. So there could be another 10 days of this coach search that we're in. I think it may happen on Saturday or Sunday, but it may not happen until next week around this time also. That's what Lewenberg said, that his pulse on the front office is saying that the decision will be made by next Friday at the latest, a week from tomorrow. So yeah, all right, let's see what else is going on. David's saying, or is that an upgrade, improvement, step in the right direction? Well, it depends on the players, who's going which way, and like really, like, Rudy Gay trade. Look at that trade. Some ways people will look at that Rudy Gay trade that Masai made when he first came here 10 years ago. He made he's had his 10-year anniversary yesterday. That's kind of scary because Rudy Gay was a really good scorer and one of our best players, but he got 4 lesser players for him. But the 4 players he got were so useful in different ways that kind of trade worked. So it's kind of like, we don't know. And we just have to trust Masai and Bobby as far as like the Kyle Lowry trade, the Kawhi trade, the Marc Gasol trade. There's so many trades that he's made that have kind of been like, well, how is this going to work out? And he's ended up getting the better of it for the most part. So if he makes a deal this summer, it may look weird. And some people may be like, what the hell? We're giving Kyle for Goran and Precious? What is this? Well, trust in Masai, rely on Masai, and good things will happen. We'll have to see. Most of his moves are upgrades. Let's just put it that way, David. Cool Cat saying college students making good decisions to stay in college, earn more money. That way, if they're not a high draft pick. Yeah, I think that there's I don't know, something weird happened in the combine. And a lot of those youngsters, they just decide, I'm going to go back. And, this may be a good thing because these players will become more fundamentally sound the longer they stay in college. Some of these one and done guys, they're so ridiculously bad at fundamentals. It really was the 4 years of going to UNC under Dean Smith would teach you the hard knocks and how to play the game correctly, because the high school coaches are limited in a certain way because the overall talent around the players usually like, just do what you do. You're so talented, you're going to win games for us. It doesn't matter. When college is a little bit different. You got to learn that team system and really learn team fundamentals in college. And some of these guys bypass college. They don't become good team players because they didn't play enough college. So I commend Zach Edey and all the rest of the young men yesterday who committed back to their schools to go back. I think it is a good wave or a good thing happening. The NIL is a whole new thing involved in the whole thing also. And that is part of it also. So, all right, let's keep going. Seymour saying, David, interesting. Interesting. Yes. And Cowboy saying, thank you very much, Granny Evelyn. That's right. Happy birthday to you. Monique is saying, David, it's silly, right? Rebuilding what? Some Raptor fans are crazy. In fact, I don't think they're Raptor fans. I think they just like to see things get destroyed. And I think they may be like the professional. They just infiltrate. They act like they're Raptors fans, but they're really Philly fans. And they're saying, blow it up. Trade all your players. Get rid of your coach. Get rid of Masai. Masai is the problem. When people start talking about our people being bad, I start thinking you're not a fan. Seriously. When you talk too much about how much is wrong with our team and not how much is good with our team, I start to think you're not actually with us and that you're just trying to be an agent of chaos and you've infiltrated our group of fans and you're just trying to cause confusion and get maybe some people behind you and start sheeping behind you. It's like, yeah, Masai is the problem. Fire him, fire him. Screw that. It could even be Ted Rogers III has burner accounts on Twitter, and he goes on Masai related posts and say, we should just fire Masai over and over again. It could be he has like his secretary doing that. You guys got to understand, when forces are out there to come after Masai, it's not a good thing. Trust me. Masai is somebody we should be like protecting as much as possible. because we need him. Trust me, our team will be in bad shape. Forget about anybody else. Masai is the most important person in the Raptors organization, and we need to revere him and respect him and not add to the noise that Masai needs to go. A lot of people that talk about Masai has not done good. He's made mistakes. Y'all are idiots. Listen, every GM's going to make mistakes to a degree, but his success rate is so much higher than most GMs that, you guys need to stop saying, oh, Masai's made a lot of mistakes. Well, every GM makes mistakes, but how many of them make a lot of successes and right decisions also? And look at the percentages. You'll probably find Masai is actually one of the best ever at his job. And that, y'all need to start valuing him better. If you get mad at him for one little mistake or one little thing, anybody who's mad at him for getting Jakob Poeltl at the trade deadline this year, you're an idiot. You do not understand that move and that it was a really good move. So anybody who thinks we got to get rid of Masai because of Jakob Poeltl at the trade deadline, you're an idiot. Just shut up. You don't know basketball. Just fuck off. That's what I'll say to you. So I'm going to protect the hell out of Masai right now. Because now that Nick's gone, and possibly Fred might be gone, well, what the fuck kind of foundation and base of what we are doing here in Toronto is we going to have at that point? That we get rid of Masai Ujiri too? Yeah, it's people that want to destroy us forever that are saying these things. So just be careful if you're going to add to that noise or not, because there's no point in adding to it. Just love and trust Masai and rely on Masai. Please. All right. Let's see. David is agreeing with Monique. Happy birthday to Cowboy. Wish you many more, Cowboy. Josh Monroe. Good to see Raptor Free Josh Monroe this morning again. Jordy is similar to Scarioli in terms of culture. Yeah. I think that's right. I think that's true. Sergio is older. Sergio has more experience, obviously, in different ways. I don't know what to think. We could be putting this off because Sergio is our guy and he's going to come around it soon. I don't know. I do kind of like that idea that was presented earlier where maybe Sergio's our head coach for 2 years and Jordy is underneath him with already the agreement that he will take over that seat within 2 years. And, that actually does sound like a really good plan. Sergio runs the team for transition. Jordy is there and waiting. He's still the associate head coach. And basically, it could be this kind of thing where if Sergio needs to go international to go do things with the international team during the season, Jordy is coaching the team in his absence. So it could all work out really well if we could get both of them. I don't know if that's possible. I think that they would work together with each other like that. But Jordy may be like, hell yeah, I'll do this. I don't mind waiting 2 more years and coaching with Sergio, my good friend. And then boom, I will be the head coach. And Sergio already knows. It's like, I'm 62. I don't think I want to coach much longer in the States other than just 2 years. He did 2 years with us as an assistant around the championship. Well, what if he does 2 years once again as the head coach with a guy in waiting coming up after him, and it's all set up, all ready to go after those 2 years? I actually really like that idea because we're getting 2 of our top candidates on the team, and our brain trust is really good then. Monique saying Scotty was at the Blue Jays game. Yep. Those Raptors were at the Blue Jay game last night. I wish they beat Milwaukee, though. They lost 4-2. I don't like it when our guys go to games and Toronto loses, whether it's the Leafs come to the Raptors game or the Raptors go to the Leafs game or whatever, vice versa. I want Toronto sports to win, especially when the athletes of the other teams are there in attendance. Like when Leafs come to the Raptors game and we lose, I kind of blame them sometimes. All right, let's keep going. Trevor saying first game tonight in the finals between Denver and Miami. Who is going to win? The games begin. Yeah, Trevor. I'm really, really thinking that Denver is going to get their first NBA championship, that Nikola Jokic will be the MVP. They're really putting on blast their altitude. They're really trying to scare Miami. And then Eric Spoelstra is saying, we'll play on Mount Everest. We don't care what your altitude is. And then he said, when you come to Miami, we're going to turn off the air conditioner. And y'all are going to have to play in the hot, humid swamp heat of South Florida and Miami. Yeah, he wants to get that home court advantage from Miami with their geographic settings also. You're going to get that swamp heat in Miami. That's what he's joking. They won't do that. Those fans would not want – they don't come to the game already. You think they're going to come to an unconditioned game in the middle of summer in Miami? No, they're not. They're going to come there, and they need air conditioning for sure. Seymour is saying Charles Oakley for head coach. He might slap the shit out of a ref. I'm really thinking about that. Man, he could really smack the shit out of Ed Malloy pretty good, probably. Wow, I kind of like that picture in my head, Seymour, seriously. Well, the problem with Oak is he did try to coach for a little while. He was on the sideline for a little bit of time, but he got frustrated with knuckleheads. It's the classic case of the youngsters are idiots, and I just don't have the patience for them. So he could not do it very much longer. I think he was in Charlotte with Paul Silas when he was coaching the Hornets, and Michael Jordan was the owner, obviously, and that's why Charles got that job as assistant coach. So he did do assistant coaching for very briefly. Now, one thing about Charles, and I loved him to death. Trust me, Charles Oakley is one of my favorite Toronto Raptors ever. I was a huge fan of his even before he played for the Raptors when he was in New York. He's not very clear communicator. That's the one problem with him. Like they may be in timeout and he's telling them what to do, and they were like, "What did you say, coach?" Because he's got a very interesting style of speech. You have to go listen to Charles speak, and like you'll be like, "What did he just say?" I mean, I kind of understand what he said, and it's kind of cool what he said, but in some ways, I don't totally understand what he said. It's that kind of thing with him. So I don't know about that. I like the fact that he slapped the shit out of the refs, but the communication is not his best skill. Let's just put it that way. Fiercely saying, why rebuilding? Our roster is solid, just needs a few tweaks, minor tweaks, but major impact. I believe once all the bad weeds will be gone, our different look will help. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, if David Thorpe was right, you get rid of Nick, get rid of Fred. Maybe OG won't be a problem after that because his clutch buddies are out too. Then boom, all of a sudden everything's like working smoothly. People are happy, they're smiling, there's good vibes. The team chemistry is off the charts. The new coach has a new system that the players are thriving in. This is all stuff we can pretend and project for our next season. We start thinking in a think tank mindset, hive mind of good things and forecasting and projecting good vibes on the Raptors for the 2023-2024 season ahead of time, and just say, I'm seeing like beautiful pick and rolls with Pascal and Yaka. I'm seeing, look at that Gary Trent 3. He's still on the team. That's right. He did come back. Oh, it's stuff like that. Let's think about the good things that could happen for us in the coming months, in the off season, and then for the season in the fall. There could be a lot of good things. Trust me, everybody's counting us out. We're in a bad place. We're like wounded in the corner, but they don't realize our resilience and that we have Masai and that we can make the best out of anything, even with our coach going to our arch rival this week. It's crazy, crazy. Mike's saying, I don't know. I feel different about certain things. Like I know people were upset over Dwayne Casey dissing the Raptors by saying he likes being with a team that has won championships. It's timing at the moment with Nick. I think you're just really in a tender place with the Nick Nurse stuff, and you're really it's starting to sink in that the lines are drawn, Mike. You really, really we gotta shelve our love for Nick for a little while. Seriously, it doesn't change that he has a legacy with us. It doesn't change his history with us. It's just we stay present. He's a Philadelphia 76er now. And that's egregiously bad as far as like crossing lines against an arch enemy. Who do Raptors fans for last year say our biggest enemy is? Philadelphia, because we played them in the playoffs last year. Joel Embiid was an arch enemy, stepped on Scotty's ankle. They're just, it's a whole rivalry. Like we're seriously arch enemies with Philadelphia, and they would say the same damn thing to us because we put them in hurtful places with the shot by Kawhi, and we do have a history with them. Well, Nick going to the other side and all this, it's like, ooh, I just wish that Nick would say what Nav said to Fiercey himself, because that's all he needs to do. That's all he needs to do. It's like, just be classy, Nick. Whatever. You're not going to be classy. It is what it is. Dwayne Casey had every right to be bitter in some ways to me. I mean, really, seriously, in a lot of ways, he got done raw. I don't think Nick did. I really don't think Nick got done raw. They're very different situations. In some ways, Dwayne Casey got done very raw by us, just like DeMar did. And Nick, I don't feel bad for him. He got what he got because he went to that point with our team as far as like what he did this season. There's like 5 different things we could have fired him for. Seriously. Masai says it has nothing to do with that press conference. Me, if that press conference had happened, I would have fired him just for that. He said he didn't fire him for the press conference. Maybe he fired him for telling Earl not to come to New York. Maybe he fired him for the performance in the play-in game against the Chicago Bulls. Maybe he fired him because he's completely lost the whole team. And how the hell is he going to get them all back? And what kind of hill would he have to climb to get the team to buy back into him and trust him? See, there's all kinds of reasons why we absolutely had to fire him. And casual Raptor fans will be just like, oh, he's our championship coach. Why do we fire him? That's a big, huge mistake. Well, you didn't know that things were broken beyond repair. And that's why the dude had to go no matter what. And it's not like Masai wanted to do it. I'm telling you, Nick knew that he had a powerful position in this whole thing. That Masai, you really would you dare to fire me? Like, where will y'all be without me? Is that kind of thing. It's kind of the way Nick was acting. And Masai was like, you know what? I will just fucking fire you. It's like, I don't negotiate with terrorists. I don't negotiate with manipulative people that are doing subversive things on the down low to increase their own personal position. And he's like, no, you can see the door. And that's that. And whoa, Nick was like, wait, you have the audacity to fire me? Wait, whoa, I didn't expect this. I don't think he thought he was going to get fired. I thought he thought he could strong arm Bobby and Masai to make him get more money this summer. And they said, no, we're not going to pay you more money. In fact, we're going to fire you instead. You know, Nick at the beginning of the year, the coach's open house, he said right in front of me in person, I saw him in real life, not on TV. I was there. He said, I realize coaching the Raptors is a privilege. He said that. He knows that it was a privilege for him to coach here. Well, he didn't act like it by the end of the year. Trust me. He wasn't acting like it was a privilege at that point. He said it at the beginning of the year, though. I heard it. All right, let's see. Cowboys saying, thank you, Fiercey. You're still going down in the fantasy league. Enough love. So far in the fantasy league, so far in the WNBA fantasy league, we got me against Gerald. I'm up pretty good on him. Fiercey and Tada are very close. Bradley does have a lead right now. Cool Cat has a lead over Race Mode Daily. And then Tom Duke is beating David Saborin right now. That's a good grudge match. I love that. David, you got some work to do. And then MK is beating Monique right now. Monique, get in there. Instead of your lineups, Monique. It's really easy to do. Just go and mess around with the interface a little bit today, Monique, and get your players in there. You got to get them in there to score the points. They're sitting on your bench for the night. You're not getting those points, Monique. So make your lineup changes. It's a very easy setup to be able to do it all. And just take a second to learn it. And boom, you'll be able to do it all season, and you'll have a lot of fun being the GM of your fantasy WNBA team. Yeah. All right, let's see. David saying, oh, wait. All right, I'm going to get back. Seymour's got a bunch of cups. I love that. David saying, does that mean you found your team, Cowboy? I can tell you, if Masai wheels that third pick, we're set. I don't want that third pick, David. Who is that? Scoot Henderson? Who is that? Brandon Miller? I'm not interested in either of those team players. The fourth pick, they're talking about that with Houston at this point. That may be better because in some ways I'd like one of the Thompson twins instead of, in the name of love, whoa, Thompson twins. Yeah, that might be the way to go. I'm not interested in 2 and 3. No, I don't want Scoot. I don't want Brandon Miller. If I'm going somewhere, I want a Thompson twin, and it's got to be like 4 or 5, the draft pick. So we're not talking to Portland. Fuck Portland. We don't need your pick. We'd rather get your young Canadian that can jump so high. He could come here, but we're not interested in your pick. Why would we want the third pick? I think that a lot of that's bullshit. I don't want to trade for a higher pick. Honestly, I don't want to trade for a higher pick. I'd rather just stay where we are. I'd like, in some ways we trade for a higher pick. We're going to be getting rid of OG or somebody like that if we do that. And we don't want to do that for a pick. Nah, man, I'm not about those picks. All those pick rumors right now, I'm just like trying to ignore them and be like, if this happens, so be it. I'll trust them aside. But otherwise, I'm like, I'm not interested. My own thinking is like, that's not a good move. We shouldn't try and get a higher pick in this draft. I really don't think so. If you're number one, you can get number one pick. Sure, get that pick. But yeah, you're going to get the number one pick from San Antonio to get Victor. Yeah, right. No, that's the only pick I would try and trade up to get is the number one pick. No, I don't want Scoot. I seriously don't. Just because Scoot and Scotty sounds good. No, fuck that shit. This is a cute little name. Who cares? Scoot Henderson's not fundamentally a good player. He's a stud, an athlete. He's one of these kind of guys that epitomizes what's wrong with the NBA today. He's all flash and style and substance, but he's no like fundamental, I'm going to win kind of player. He might as well be like the latest version of Russell Westbrook to me. That's what he looks like to me, at least. Let's see. Anthony is a walking bucket. I love Anthony Simons. Ooh, that's what I'm saying. I don't want their pick. I want some of their young players. Anthony, Shaden, those two guys, I wouldn't love seeing in a Raptors jersey. Tyrese Maxey, of course. I'd love to see him in a Raptors jersey. He's like the best Sixer. Seriously, he's better than Embiid. I'll say that right now. Cowboys saying, thanks, David. I found it and I'm working today. Got to go soon. Just want to say what's up and go Raptors. All right. You be careful out there, Bradley. Cool Cat saying, Lex, if Fred leaves, Pascal, Scotty can share point guard duties, then Doughton, Banton, and Flynn off the bench. I want to believe in what you're saying could work. But in some ways, one thing we've learned is we need more traditional roles on our team. Getting Pirtle was a breath of fresh air because we finally had a traditional center. I still think we need a traditional point guard, just if anything, for versatility's sake, to show that we could put that look out there. Now, if we do a 6'9" lineup with Scotty at point from time to time, that's great. That's a great look too. But we want to be able to have a look where we look more like a traditional lineup once again. And Pirtle is part of that. And then, if we're not going to have Fred, we're going to need somebody who's going to be a traditional kind of point guard otherwise coming back. Now, is Jeff ready to make a leap and be that guy from the bench? Maybe. I mean, Jeff Doughton Jr. is way better than we give him credit. And then the other guys, I mean, they're specialty kind of guys. Flynn is Flynn. I don't even know if Flynn will be on our team next year. That's the other thing. And then Banton, well, he may not even be a point guard soon. He may very much be a wing or a slasher scorer more than a point guard at some point. He'll be able to have the point guard skills, but the way they're using him in recent, like the last year, it looked really like they want him to be the two and to him to be like the guy with the ball in his hand trying to score over being the ball distributor, kind of the point guard. So it's interesting. I don't really trust Scotty yet to be our full-time point guard. Maybe this summer he works like crazy and he's way better, but there's still, to be a good point guard, there's a trial and error period where there's a lot of turnovers and you got to go through a hard time. Maybe we should just get that out of the way and have a year where Scotty's trying to run point. He makes a lot of mistakes and we suck. That we may just have to do that this year. Who knows? I don't know. That could be the way we do it. We'll have to see. The personnel moves with Bobby and Masai and who comes and who goes. Well, there's that void. And we may see Scotty being our starting point guard because we didn't get a point guard after Fred left. I don't know. I don't like jumping without a net. Let's just put it that way. G saying Philly will not trade Maxey. That would be like us trading Scotty, in my opinion. Yeah, I know. That's why I'll keep saying that because I know they don't want to do that. Well, you want OG? You're going to have to trade as Maxey. You want Fred? Maybe we'll do somebody else on your team. I don't know. Let's see. Monique saying happy birthday to Bradley. Mike saying, I swear, I saw Jordy's name on these winning Spanish teams with Ibaka and Gasol and Calderon. Tapping the Spanish pipeline for the new coach is a smart idea. Bo Cruz maybe would have worked with Jordy. Yeah, I think he was around in those teams. He's been a part of the Spanish national team since the 2000s. So, of course, he was around those teams with Ibaka and Gasol. So, yeah, that's part of the experience he has. He's been around guys in our culture, so maybe that's part of the linkage. He knows Mark. He knows Sergio. They know Toronto. He knows Juancho. There you go. Jordy could be very familiar with us. And plus, because he's an international person, we've always had a history of having international people around the Raptors. He fit in really well because he's from Spain. He's not American. And in some ways, his allegiance versus Canada or America, I question sometimes, like even with Nick right now, as much as he loves Canada and as much as he's a Team Canada coach, the way he's exiting seems like an American disrespecting Canada once again, as far as things are going right now. See, this is the thing he doesn't understand is we have chips on our shoulder because we don't get treated correctly by the NBA and the United States in general. So when we have a coach like we just had for 5 years treat us so disrespectfully on the way out like this, it goes into that kit and caboodle of, once again, slighting Canada. And I don't want Nick to be one of these ugly Americans that looks down on Canada opposed to the U.S. But that's how kind of I read his behavior since he left is, it's just Canada. Who cares? I don't need to say anything to them. I kind of get that vibe from him in some ways. Now, Jordy, because he's Spanish, he has no allegiance to the States, and he could actually really be cool with us for long term. And I wouldn't worry about him all of a sudden saying, I want to go back to Iowa and be home with my family in the States. It's not like that with him. Josh is saying if Raps can't agree to terms with Fred, he's out. So front office have to decide between him or Gary. Well, then maybe the decision's already made that Fred is on the way out and Gary is staying, because we're seeing Gary all around our facilities. He's being put on blast with his OLG contest, find the bag in the city. They're hiding like stash bags around Toronto's greater Toronto area. And Gary is the face of those ads. He's saying this summer, OLG and the Raptors are dropping stash bags around the city, and Gary is the one in all the commercials. That says a lot right there. And like Gary Trent Sr. said 2 days ago in the OVO Center, we're up in here. And he's at the OVO and they're wearing Raptors gear. So who knows? Maybe Gary's not going anywhere. It could very well be that Masai and Bobby realize how bad we shoot. And if we get rid of Gary, we're even worse. And they're like, yeah, we got to keep Gary. And Gary's like, yeah, I'll stay. I love being in Toronto. And he's all about being here. So it could very well be Fred's gone and Gary is still here, Josh. MSJ saying, I think the CBA means we keep Scotty and Pascal after this year, depending on how the season goes. Maybe we see OG leave. Fred, in my opinion, is the guy not coming back to start. Gary, I don't know. Yeah, I think I kind of just answered this on the last comment to a degree. Scotty's going to be here for a while. He's on a rookie stuff. He's going to be here for a while. Pascal could be a little interesting in the years to come as far as like what extension and new contract and stuff. We'll have to see. Let's just stay present and let it all come to us as it comes to us in the time it's supposed to come to us. This is really, really good time for people that get anxious in uncertain times to practice staying in the moment and just allowing things that you can't control to just kind of come and happen. And you know what? You often are very pleasantly surprised and happy with how things work out when you just give it up. Some people say, give it up to God or give it up to your higher power or just give it up to the forces out there of good, that good things will happen. And that's kind of where we have to be right now, where there's some faith involved in what we're doing right now. Monique is saying, I'd say the Monty news got me because he was on my top 5 list for Raptors and many of us wanted him. I didn't think he was exactly a fit, Monique. And listen, the dude was going to have to get paid a lot of money. And, in some ways, maybe MLSE didn't want to pay him $12 million a year. Like, I really do think Detroit overpaid for him. This is crazy. Like, I think they way overpaid for him, but they had to because they weren't going to lure him from sitting at home without paying him that much. So they did what they had to do. But I'm like, holy crap, that is a lot of money. And, kudos to him. Good for him. And, we'll see how things go in Detroit. I'm not as worried about him in Detroit in some ways. I know they're going to be becoming a force in the years to come with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and different good young players on that team. And Monty will be good, I'm sure, as a coach. But, in some ways it's Detroit. And it's still kind of like Detroit kind of things happen to them all the time. So, I'm not that upset about Monty. I didn't really, he was in my top 5 candidates. Yeah. But that was really just because of his resume and not because I thought he was a really good fit, because I didn't really think he was a good fit with us in some ways. He's very religious and he's very kind of, I don't know what I was talking about with Nick and, American coaches. Like in some ways, I don't think he would be like so bought in to be in Canada. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of people in the NBA that aren't really like, they are very staunchly Americans and they're very like, I'm America. America's the best. America, number one. And they kind of do look down on us, even if they don't say it out loud. And I get those vibes from Monty that he wouldn't have an interest in coming to Toronto, not to slight us. It's just that he's just that kind of guy. Let's see. Monique Cowboys saying, thank you, Mo and Josh. I'd rather have Gary than Fred. And MSJ, I hope we keep OG, not only because I got his jersey, but Spicy and Freddie, I don't mind. Let's go. All right. Yeah, I mean, we have our preferences. It's starting to like shake out. Let's just see how it happens and we'll react to it when it does. Mike saying, MSJ, not gonna lie, I heard a lot of people saying a lot of opposing ideas and logic about the new CBA changes. At the moment, I'm really only seeing major changes to things past the luxury number. They made a second tax apron. Yeah, that second tax apron. I've heard them talk a lot about that and how that changed things. Bradley saying, we're going to win it all. If not this year, next year for sure. See you at the parade. Seymour, let's go. I'm not worried at all. I trust Masai. Parade in Toronto again in the next couple of years. I will be all about that, Bradley. Let's be realistic, though. We're gonna have to see. I'm not picking us to go to the finals next year. I'm not picking us to, I pick us to make the playoffs, like at least the play in for sure. We can only do worse than we did this past year. But I mean, I have to temper my expectations with the team unless we make a huge sensational move this summer in free agency or in a trade. Then I might be like, yeah, we can do it now. But right now, in our present state, I won't say that we're ready to compete for a championship. And a lot of people will be like, "Of course, you're right, Lex." Well, I sometimes like overrate the Raptors, and I'm not doing that right now. I'm not doing that right now. MSJ saying Joe Wieskamp and Jeff Doughton needed to see the floor more last year. Even 10 minutes a game, 3 shots, and see if he can make 2. That would be a good way to use Joe Wieskamp off the bench. He rebounds too. Hi, everybody. Hi, MSJ. Yeah, I mean, I really felt like Fred was way overplayed. In fact, I think Eric Flynn was right. In hindsight, I'm thinking about it. It's like, Fred, you know what? You could have played 30 minutes and Malachi could have gotten 10 minutes every game. We did do that to an extent, but there were many, many games where Malachi didn't see the floor at all. And I don't know, maybe Malachi wasn't the right person to take those backup point guard minutes. Maybe Jeff should have been that guy on certain nights, or Delano. But yeah, there was a bit of Fred's pie that should have been cut into to give more time to those other guys. And that is a failing of Nick, to not give those other guys a chance, just pouring it all on Fred, watering that plant so heavy while the other ones wither and die. Let's see. Seymour saying, I'm so happy Boston is out. Philadelphia is out. Milwaukee and Dragic out. I know we are haters when it comes to the point where we're out. We want to see other people go out that we don't like. And yes, the checklist has been complete. Miami's in still. I don't hate Miami in any kind of way for the most part. Although let's just say this. We want Denver to win because think about it. If Miami Heat win a championship from where they came from this year, we're never going to hear the end of it from Miami Heat fans. The fact that they came from the play-in as an 8th seed and they've done so well this way, if they go all the way and win the championship, it'll be some sort of crazy story that Heat fans will not let us ever not hear about. Seriously. So Denver, just win, please. I'm going for you, Kitchener. I'm going for you, Nicola. That's right. Let's see. Solstice is here. Solstice 99. Good morning. Every morning, 9:30 a.m. We're talking Raptors. Tomorrow we'll do the Friday Freakout. Saturday morning, the Saturday Share Love Club. We'll be sharing the love for Adrian Griffin on his departure from the Raptors. We are going to show how we can share love to somebody who does it correctly. And so Saturday morning, we'll be talking Adrian Griffin and bidding adieu to him in a very nice, cordial way, which I wish it had gone that way with Nick. Solstice is saying he could make his name worse by screwing up here. Who are you talking about? And specifically, I don't do well with he or those kind of pronouns. You got to just write the proper name so I know who you're talking about, because I jump from subject to subject so quick. And you wrote that almost an hour ago. So I have no idea who you're in reference to. I think that Nick's going to make his name worse in Philadelphia. Honestly, I really do. I think that in some ways he's going to go there and he's going to find failure. And they're going to see that in some ways what happened here in Toronto with him with the championship had a lot to do with Kawhi and Kyle. And that Philadelphia is going to be a failure. And Nick's going to look very mortal and not like the coach he was here in Toronto. I think that's what's going to happen. Seriously, he's going to hurt his stock because he's not going to perform as well there. Trust me, watch. Cowboys saying the Raptors are going to kill it this year, even if we trade Freddie and Pascal. It's not a rebuild. It's just new faces. If we get some picks and some players for them and draft Bilal, it's over. Game over. He really loves Victor's little buddy, Koulibaly. Yeah, he's cool. I like him too. It's all just terms. It's like one term may mean something to somebody. It's like a rebuild, a tear down, a retool. It's all just bullshit in terms. I don't want to get rid of both Fred and Pascal. That's crazy. I'm seeing that picture on my wall with all the champions from our team, and nobody on that picture is on our team except for Fred and Pascal right now. The Raptor and Drake don't count. But yeah, we lose Fred along with Nick this summer. That's two faces on that thing almost every summer. The first summer, it was Kawhi and Danny. The second summer, it was Mark and Serge. Then the next year, it was Norman and Kyle. Then we took a year off and we didn't lose anybody after last year. But then this summer, it's looking like it's going to be Nick and Fred. And the last guy standing on that picture will be Pascal. So no, I'm not about getting rid of both Pascal and Fred. There's only one of them should be going. If both of them go, that's really bad. That's a full rebuild. That's a full rebuild. If we get rid of Fred and Pascal, that's a rebuild. I'm going to say it right there. And we don't want to go rebuild. We want to go retool. Monique is saying some mock drafts even have Raptors picking Jordan Hawkins. What are your thoughts, Lex? Yeah, I saw that mock draft on ESPN saying that at 13th we picked Jordan Hawkins. We looked at him a little bit. UConn's Jordan Hawkins. He's a good shooter, and apparently he's one of the best shooters in this whole draft. So in some ways, I wouldn't be upset about that. His height's not real thrilling to me, but if he can really shoot the lights out, that's something we need, and I would be okay with taking him at that spot if he comes as advertised. If he comes and shows up and he can't shoot worth the shit, I'll be like, why did everybody say he could shoot? He can't shoot. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. There's some players that are maybe a little bit lower in that mock draft that they may go get instead, like Keontae George. That's one that we've been real big on. And he's showing in that mock draft a couple spots lower than Hawkins with us at 13. So I'm really suspicious of ESPN when they put out their mock drafts. The way they tried to railroad Jalen Suggs towards us a couple years ago, and then everybody got behind it. I'm really suspicious when we get those kind of inertia in our fan base, because we know that was the wrong move, and they were right with Scotty Barnes. But that's the problem with this, and especially when ESPN's kind of directing us to somebody like, oh, you should get Jordan Hawkins. I'm very suspicious of that, and that maybe there's somebody better that's right around there that they're trying to hide from us, like Scotty Barnes in that situation 2 years ago. So I don't really listen to their mock drafts, and I'm glad that Bobby and Masai, they have their own rankings, and there may be guys that are lower in that mock draft that we may draft over Hawkins, and they would be the right move, like Bradley's guy, Bilal. That could be one of those guys like I'm talking about. Let's keep going. Josh Monroe saying Scotty needs to play Draymond Green role and play more of the passing game, running the offense coming in time. You know what? I love this idea, and I think Josh is exactly right. There's a nod that Scotty made in the end of season interview where he said he's not playing defense to the level that he'd like to, and that this summer he's going to work really hard on his conditioning to bring it up to the level that he can play the way he wants to on defense. When I heard him say that, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what he's talking about? He's talking about being able to be absolutely all over the place all the time. And then instead of sitting at home playing video games on Twitch where we could watch him last summer, he's out and about and he's doing stuff every day and he's really getting time in. So we'll have to see. I think this is a great idea. I think that you're right, that if it's not that I want him to be more like Draymond, because he's better than Draymond, but that kind of passing role out of the low post that Draymond does could really benefit his passing skills better than being a traditional point guard and coming from the top of the key. In some ways, that allows the option of him passing out of the low post or taking the ball himself in the low post where he's already set up and making a very high percentage shot. So I do like that idea by Josh. I think it's a brilliant idea. And I completely agree with you that if he can play like an offensive hub, like role in the low post, like Draymond does for Golden State, we could see a lot of fruit born from that for the Raptors and their offense. MSJ saying, final comment for me today. Check the resume of Sergio. We have to hire him. Bring the Spanish pick and roll to Toronto. Bring some offensive excitement. Shannon Sharpe, he's a great commenter, Lex. All right, good stuff. Thank you, MSJ. Thank you for all your contributions to our stream and being here all the time. You've been fantastic recently, honestly, and all kinds of good stuff. All right, I'll go look deeper at Sergio. If this coach's search draws out more, I got to make more content. So maybe the Thursday Think Tank next week will be on Sergio. I just figure we better put Jordy on blast because he does really look like a very viable top candidate for this head coaching vacancy we have here in Toronto. So yeah, I don't think we can go wrong with either one of them. And if we can get both of them in the way that we talked about earlier with Cool Cat's idea, that's awesome. I would love to see an apprentice in training under Sergio, and he will get that job promised to him. There won't be no Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien bullshit going on here. No, Jordy will get that job because Sergio's older and he's going to need to go back to Europe. Excuse me. All right, I got to get something to drink. Okay, Cowboys saying, fuck Skip. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and he's a chump, just like Nurse. And I agree. I think 2 years for Nurse, you can't even thank Toronto fans. You whack waste man. Have fun in Philly. Man, I love it. Bradley's a really nice guy, and he's most of the time very positive. And it's his birthday; he's 40. But he's showing venom towards Nick Nurse, and I'm with him on this. I'm sorry. In some ways, it didn't have to be like this, Nick. We could have smoothed things over. I mean, it's gonna be tough. If you really want to go and coach the Sixers, that's not necessarily the team that Raptors fans are real thrilled about, and that's why you're getting what you get now. Now, Nav can be a nicer guy and turn the other cheek and say, "Oh, we love you, Coach Nurse, and we'll see you off tomorrow with a smile." Well, you're a better man than me, Nav, I guess, is what I'll say. Monique is saying, my birthday is next weekend, the 10th. Holy cow. Everybody's birthday's in June. We got Bradley on the 1st. We got Adriana's birthday's on the 20th. We got Monique's birthday on the 10th, which is the same birthday as my niece. My grandmother's turning 101 on the 12th. And then my mom's birthday is on the 16th. It's like I've got all these birthdays. And then it's Father's Day. There's so much going on in June. Happy birthday to all you Geminis. Geminis in the house. Oh my gosh. We got a hardcore, strong Gemini contingency around here. Monique, we will make sure we celebrate your birthday on the 10th for sure. Sheer Khan saying, hey, Raptor Freak family, did anyone talk about Monty to Detroit news? Stepped away for a bit, so don't know if we discussed it. Most teams with vacancies have a new head coach. I think Raps are close to making a decision. Yeah, it's just us and Phoenix. I think Phoenix is going to hire Doc, y'all. If they don't hire Doc, they'll probably just hire Kevin Young, the assistant underneath Monty Williams, and he may be the new head coach of the Phoenix Suns. I think it's going to be either one of those two. Now, there could be some weird issue or something weird where Coach Bud all of a sudden is the coach of the Phoenix Suns. But I think it's going to be Doc or it's going to be Kevin Young, honestly. I think that's where we're at with that. Although it could very well be Doc has to be okay with Kevin. Kevin Durant's probably going to decide who's going to be the next coach of Phoenix. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, we did talk about this. I think they're overpaying Monty too much, but they had to get him to come. And good for them. I don't know how it's going to work out in Detroit. I don't want them to do really well, obviously, but we'll see. G-Man's here. Good to see G-Man. Culture change. Hang on. Why did it jump right at that second? I hate how it jumps like that. Culture change got to start with saying adios to Fred. The G-Man coming in. Good to see you, G-Man. In some ways, you might be right. I think you're right because in some ways, Fred is still a stand for Nick, obviously. I know that he could change his allegiance, be okay with Nick leaving and stuff like that and still stay. But how much of it is kind of the remnants of that? And how much would it change our team's look? And how much would it change like his high usage on our team, allowing other people to have it? Some of the things that Fred haters have been all about this whole season. I think you're right to a degree. I think that we will complete a culture change if we lose both Nick and Fred this summer. And, that may be enough to actually make things better on our team on the overall. Who knows? We'll have to see. David's saying amen, and he means a Thompson twin. Amen and Asur. He's all about Amen Thompson. He's not saying that because he's praying. Let's see. MSJ saying, okay, one more comment. It's totally fine to throw the salt on Nick Nurse. He did mess up the season. I saw it all season long. It was real. Laugh out loud. A mystery year of coaching, but now we know Nick Nurse was a jerk. Well, before he was our jerk. And that's why we loved him. It's like he's a jerk. He was a jerk all along, but he was our jerk. And that's why we love him. Now he's Philadelphia's jerk, and now we hate him. That's just how it goes. That's just how it is. Everybody is being so polite. The people that got mad at us for booing Goran, those are the same people that are like, y'all should be so nice to Coach Nurse. We wouldn't have gotten a championship without him. How can you be so mean to him right now? That's because we really care and we're paying very close attention. You go ask Monique how much hours she spends of her life revolving around the Raptors and looking at Raptor stuff. If anybody knows where people should be at with their feelings on things, it's Monique Lawrence, because she is very much invested in the Toronto Raptors as a super fan, and she really does know what's going on. And the people that are going to be like, oh, why are we mad at Nick? Why did we fire him? we need to catch you up because you're not paying attention. And she's right. Don't try and gaslight us and tell us, oh, that he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He did do stuff that was wrong. MSJ's right. He did do stuff. When we can see it, it happened during the season. Trevor's saying the NBA is like a prostitute. We'll have sex with you for money and ratings. There's a little bit of that. There really is. The money is a really big part of the problems in the NBA. The money is the problems with the players in a certain degree, and it's also part of the problem with the coaches now, it seems. The same effect that happened with players in the recent decades with the increase in revenue and money and how they've changed as their work ethic and stuff, maybe having some weird side effects with the coaching in the league now at this point that like Nick probably wanted to get more money and he's like, I got to mess things up in Toronto. They're too good and I will not leave because they won't let me leave because I'm under contract and I want to leave because I want to make more money and go somewhere else. Well, I'll sabotage my job on the down low here. That's really how I read this past season. Trevor's saying, oh yeah, I read that one already. That's kind of hilarious, Trevor. G saying, I still believe Fred had been made the scapegoat. He trained in the offseason to be this shooting guard and he was switched mid-season. Not sure how this is his fault. He has been inefficient at times like everyone. In some ways we can tell, G, from the outside that Fred very much is still with Nick. If anybody did not turn off Nick in their head to not listen to, it was Fred. And maybe that speaks better to Fred as being like a good, dutiful kind of player for his coach. But also in some ways, it kind of shows that he is maybe part of the little contingency that doesn't fit with everybody else. It's almost like these other guys, and Nick said, oh, good luck with those guys. Maybe he's saying like, yeah, these guys were assholes. They didn't listen to me and they messed up my time here in Toronto because they tuned me out at some point. And that's why he said, oh, good luck with those guys. Well, we're going to see. We've got somebody else that comes in and they can get them enthusiastic and bought in again. They will. I'm sure they will. Then things will be better. Now, Fred, it could be, like I said, he said they decided to fire Nick. He's like, he didn't agree with that. I know that Fred did not agree with us firing Nick and that he may see things totally different from the inside. There may be some things about this that are unfair towards Nick and how things happen, but I don't give a shit. The coach is always the fall guy. The coach is always going to get the blame first. And that's just the type of job it is. And, that's why you have to be so good and keep the ship afloat and not having leaks in it, because you will be the one who gets in trouble and walk the plank before anybody else. And that's just how it is. It's just how the NBA is. Tom's saying, rely on Masai. I love it. Rely on Masai. Happy birthday to Bradley. And he's got a bunch of red blocks. I don't even know what that is. Some suggested 1 hour cutoff. Oh, he's doing the cutoff for the comments. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll finish up the comments here real quick. We get under 10 minutes, and then I'll be out of here by 2 hours. Cowboys saying, later, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Enough love, and everybody smash the like button. My twin is probably wondering where I am. Everyone have a blessed day. Later, Freaks. Well, it's his birthday, too, I guess. Happy birthday to Bradley's brother. They're both 40. Paul saying, Sergio could be a good option. He knows Masai. He's a champion. We are a 500 team. Just need some tweaks and perhaps jump much higher in the standings. Might as well with no first-round draft picks in 2024. We have a very talented team. People are forgetting about this. I mean, we have Pascal Siakam. We've got Scotty Barnes. We've got Jakob Poeltl. We've got OG Anunoby. We've got Delano Bant. We've got Precious Achiuwa. We've got Christian Coloco. We've got a lot of talent on our team, and people are conveniently forgetting that right now. They can look at our season and see how mid it is, but these players, some of them are phenomenal. And that's the thing. They're young and they're growing and they're going to make leaps and bounds. So we have no idea. This could be a year where Scotty has this amazing leap in his game. And we are very much an Eastern Conference power all of a sudden because of it. So, yeah, we could jump higher in the standings. I fully predict it. Hopefully, Paul, if things go right this offseason, then we will have an improvement from last year at least. That would be really good. All right, respect to you guys each way. And G saying, I said he needed the dust to settle. I see some of myself in Nurse, flaws and all. I would need to breathe a bit to make an emotional statement. That's the thing. He doesn't need to do it on camera. He doesn't need to do it anything. He doesn't even need to do it. He could have just had like a secretary or somebody in his organization, the Nick Nurse organization, just write it up just in time. Like maybe he wants to make it really heartfelt. Maybe he does have something. Maybe he's writing us a song. Maybe he's in the piano. He's like, oh, I got to write a song to Toronto and the Raptors fans. Maybe that's why. I'd be pleasantly surprised. This is the reasoning why this has taken 5 weeks to do this. If he's like, at a piano composing a song for the Raptors nation and saying goodbye to them. That may be the one thing that could save him at this point. Nick, you better get in the studio and write us a song. That's what I want to hear. Some of the Philly fans, they heard about Nick Nurse's piano playing And they're saying that they want him to have a piano in the arena, and that after the game, they want him to go and sit at the piano and play for them after the game. Y'all are ridiculous. Seriously, Philly fans, you think Nick Nurse is going to do that stuff? You're crazy. After the game, he's pissed off. He don't want to talk to any of y'all. He plays the piano to wind down. He doesn't want people staring at him when he's playing the piano after the game. Yeah, no, you're not going to put his piano out there and make him a coach slash piano lounge singer for you guys. Like, y'all are ridiculous, Philadelphia. Y'all are absolutely ridiculous if you think you're going to get that out of him. So stupid. Oh, it's so dumb. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Mike is saying Fred VanVleet is a follow the coach guy. Yeah, he is. I believe Jordy comes, he would adjust with things fine. If Fred is not forced to decide as much on the court, there could be an ease of tension with the fans and everyone. There you go. Yeah, see, Nick really trusted Fred, so he's like him on the court. So he really put everything through him, and that was part of the problem with the gripes of the anti-Fred people. Is that it's too much going through Fred, and we want to see more go through Scotty. Want to see more go through Pascal, more through OG, and stuff like that. He's controlling everything out there. In some ways, we needed him to control because he is a very good floor general, and he's good at managing time and tempo in the game. But in some ways, a different feel to the game and how our tempo and stuff like that will be a welcome change if Fred does leave. So, yeah, Jordy's going to be able to adjust. Jordy is the kind of guy he can go in and do anything. With his varied background in basketball and coaching, this dude will be fine if he comes here, whatever level we are, whether we're developing and young or we're at a higher level in our team. I think he would be fine. Like if we're where the Denver Nuggets are right now, I think he could be a coach at every level. I don't know, though. We'll have to see it in practice how it works. But I get a feeling that he's an adaptable guy. And then it's not like Nick Nurse or Dwayne Casey, where it's like, okay, you're good at developing young guys. You're good at taking a veteran team to the last step. Maybe he has both of that. That'd be really awesome if he does. Because then if he does the development and builds our young team up, he can still be the same guy to get the glory if we get the next Larry O'Brien with him. So that would be awesome. But Mike's exactly right. Fred is a follow the coach guy, especially a coach that's going to feed him so well. Like, seriously, there's a teacher's pet relationship between Fred and Nick. And that may be part of the reason why he needs to leave. Seriously. Dana's saying, rely on Masai. That's right. Put that hashtag all over the place, Raptors Nation. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Facebook. Put it on wherever Raptors stuff is being talked about. Rely on Masai. Let's see if we can make this into something. MSJ saying, official end, read by Lex. Comment time. All right. He's cutting me off at 10:32. I appreciate y'all following the rules and helping me out with making shorter streams, but it's still going to go 2 hours. We'll be fine. Paul B saying, I see Scotty as a superstar in the making, and if Fred or Pascal were to leave, it just means more superstar time for Scotty and surround him with shooters. I like that in some ways. I don't want Pascal to leave. Seriously, let's stop talking about Pascal leaving. He's not going anywhere. Siakam is not actually, like, the only way he goes anywhere is if Masai trades him, but he's shown too much investment in the people around the franchise that Siakam's going anywhere. Why would he have a young Cameroonian backup center if he would trade Pascal this summer? Why would he bring back Pascal's best friend from San Antonio, Jakob, and sign him to a free agency contract this summer if Pascal's going somewhere? Why would he retain Rico Hines on our coaching staff? Masai, why would he do that? If Rico Hines is Pascal's personal development coach, that all shows signs that Pascal ain't going nowhere, Paul. So I'm off this Pascal's moving train, and I'm on a Fred's moving train now, and possibly OG. I think that the likeliness of Fred going is very high, then Gary, and then maybe OG. And Pascal is not going anywhere. Pascal, Scotty, and Jakob are going to be Raptors next year, no matter what. Watch. Let's see. Wayne saying, greetings from the Caribbean, Raptor freaks. Notice the trade moves nonsense still alive. Ain't having none of that. Masai knows best, not the fifth column. I love it. I love it. He referred to the fifth column. Yeah, there's always going to be some sort of stupid noise, trade rumors, all kinds of bullshit out there. Disregard it. I think the funniest one this week is D'Angelo Russell for Fred VanVleet to go to the Lakers. That is a ridiculous trade. We do not want D'Angelo Russell up here. That's so crazy. All right, Fiercey's cut it off. All right, let's see. As above, so below. War Lion. I love the ad to your name. That's cool. Masai is the reason we had a chance to get a ring, and Scotty is my highlight post. Larry We had a building season, so fuck off to anyone who doesn't understand how to build. There you go. I love that feistiness, as above, so below. Yeah, I'm totally with you on everything you're saying right here. You know, Masai Ujiri, 10 years. Look at the record we had in those 10 years. Vivek Jacob putting this on Twitter, saying the record we had in the 10 years of Masai compared to the rest of the history of the Raptors is so much better. The playoff wins, the appearances in the playoffs, the times, winning a championship. This has all happened while Masai's been on watch. And he wants to be here. He doesn't want to go anywhere. The only thing that'll mess us up is the MLSE board forcing him out somehow, some fucked up way from the top, or the fans turning on him too much and adding to that noise to guard more inertia towards pushing Masai out. We don't want any of that. We really, really don't want any of that, y'all. Seriously. And if y'all are part of the noise that's anti-Masai, just shut the fuck up. Seriously. I am so mad at people that are talking down Masai right now. You're not helping things. Just trust me. Everybody, we've got heads rolling already. We don't want more heads to roll just because y'all feel like, Masai is part of the problem too. Fuck y'all. He is not part of the problem. He is not part of the problem. If you think he's part of the problem, you don't know basketball. He's doing a really good job. Trust me. Infamous saying, salute, freaks. I agree to hire both coaches and Steve Nash as well as an assistant would be perfect. Yeah, let's just fucking get all of them. We don't have to choose. Let's get Steve, let's get Jordy, and let's get Sergio, and we'll have them all on the bench next to each other. Why don't we have a three-headed coaching monster? We'll say that all three of them are head coach, and we just pick different ones on different nights. Oh, we're playing Brooklyn? Steve, you're our head coach tonight. All right. We're playing Sacramento? Okay, Jordy, you're running things tonight. Oh, Sergio's got to go to Yugoslavia to coach his Italian team. All right, you'll be fine. We'll see you when you get back, Sergio. Steve and Jordy have it all held down here. Three-headed coaching monster. Rah! That's the innovation I want to see, Bobby and Masai. Now, is there enough money to pay all three of them? I don't know. That's such a crazy idea. That's funny. Fiercely saying, gotta go. Happy Thursday, fam, and enjoy the first finals game. Go Jamal. That's right. Go Jamal Murray. Make Kitchener proud. He's saying he's the first player from Kitchener to ever get this far. He's going where no man from Kitchener has ever gone before. I thought that was really cute. Blackhawks here. Good to see Blackhawk 2K. Original Raptor freak from the very beginning. Love to see him pop in here and there. If we have to trade for a first round pick, we will have to trade down afterwards to get role players. In the end, we will have 3 or more picks. I don't know. I'm not into shuffling picks. Like I said, I have no faith in the young generation. I have no faith in these young players coming up, that they're quality players. I think that the players that are in the league are the best quality players. And that's why I want at least young vets. People are in at least third year in the league. And I don't want to start a project. I don't want to start a bunch of young projects. I don't want 4 draft picks. That sounds like a nightmare to me. Some people says, oh, that's awesome. We have so many draft picks. These fucking people that love so many draft picks are idiots. Go cheer for the Oklahoma City Thunder if you love draft picks so much. Draft picks are stupid. Seriously. Everybody overvalues the lottery and draft picks way more than they should. Honestly, they really, really do. Oh my gosh. I don't want to do any trades in the draft. We have the 13th pick. Let's just pick at the 13th pick, get one player, and that's fine. That's all we need to do. I don't care about any of this speculation. I don't care about Portland's 3rd pick. I don't care about Houston's 4th pick. Fuck all that shit. Let's just pick one guy at 13 and we'll be fine. We don't need to make a trade. That's them wanting stuff. They want that stuff. We don't want that stuff. We don't care. We don't care. Cool Cat saying the reason why I said Pascal Scotty point guard because Scotty is our main point guard for long term. That is his passion. Yeah, no, it could be his passion. He could say he wants to be a point guard, but that may not be realistic with the reality of the NBA and the way it is, and maybe some of the things about him. If he can get that at some point, that'd be awesome. But in some ways, it's not fully utilizing his talents. In fact, what was suggested earlier about Draymond Green, him being more like that, that is way more useful for him. He's not as good at the top of the key as he is in the paint. That all of his bread and butter is around the paint. So in some ways, you want to start him off in his habitat where he should be operating from. I'd much rather him shoot little post-up shots, not that far from the basket, and make those than launching all these threes that look so bad. And that's the difference. He can be a playmaker and do all that stuff, just like was described earlier, like Draymond does, and he'll get assists. It's just I don't necessarily want him dribbling the ball up the court all the time and setting up at the top of the play at the top of the key. That's not utilizing his strengths the best to his ability. He needs to be down low like Tim Duncan, and he needs to be beating up little babies. He needs to be down there fighting for position instead of bringing the ball up the court. That is where he's best. Seriously, I can already see it. If he wants to be a 20 something scorer, he shouldn't want to be the point guard. He should be wanting to get the ball and score himself. So it's a balance. In some ways, I'd rather him be like a big passer like Draymond is than a full straight up, he's the point guard. Because Draymond can, in some ways, Clay and Steph are kind of shooting guards. And Draymond, and Steph is kind of a point guard too, but he's a hybrid. He's kind of more a shooting guard in some ways. And Draymond takes some of the point guard responsibilities off their shoulders because of his great passing in that way. So why can't we do that with Scotty? I mean, it could all just be, it's just labels. We could say Scotty's still the point guard, but maybe he doesn't play like a point guard on the court. I don't know. I think if Scott's smart, he will go with his strengths and really go with bread and butter on that. And I don't think his strength is actually bringing the ball up and down the court. We need him to get set up for position and get down low. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Wayne's saying, Lex, you're so right. Greatest Charles Oakley quote is, pimping ain't easy. Pimping ain't dead. The hoes are running scared. That was his answer to being asked about the rift between young NBA players. I know. Seriously. How do you decipher that, Wayne? How do you decipher that? I mean, if you know Charles really well, you know exactly what he means. All respect to Charles Oakley. I love him to death. He's an amazing person, but he speaks in riddles to a degree. Like, what does that mean? Pimping ain't easy. Pimping ain't dead. The hoes are running scared. That's his answer about the problem with the young players in the NBA. All right. I think I kind of understand what he's saying, though, honestly. Blue City's here. Another one of our good Philly fans that comes and visit us from time to time. We've seen Random Gamer. We've seen The Professional. We've had different Sixers fans check in with us this week. Now we're seeing Blue City. I want to see what Blue City's saying right now. A respected Philly fan that we do value here on the Raptor Free channel. What's going on, everybody? And good morning. As a Sixers fan, I have mixed feelings about the Nick Nurse hire. See, he's not totally on it like some of the other Sixers fans that come in here recently. It's interesting. I have mixed feelings. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm just going to do the wait and see. Yeah. See, he's a little suspect on this too. You know, the really big problem is the defensive fit. Like, I know Nick he demands a certain thing on the defense that we had to do here, and we had kind of the athleticism to do it. And I worry about the Sixers not being able to fulfill like the aptitude or the level of what Nick might want y'all to do on defense. You know, in some ways, I worried about that fit the most with you guys, other than the fact that there may be problems with Joel and Nick at some point down the road. I think that your attitude is the right one as a Sixers fan. It's a wait and see. You're just going to have to see how it goes. Nothing's guaranteed. Like, some of y'all are already like, wow, we're going to be like this and this and this and this. Let's not get ahead of yourselves. You guys got to see how it all takes. And of course, there's other questions around your team also with Harden and different things going on. Will you guys get Fred from us? You guys may actually get Fred from us too, Blue City. Everything's changing so quickly. It's like the NBA shovels up and deals the cards out every offseason in a weird way. And now you're holding our coach's card. So this will be very interesting, Blue City. It's definitely going to make our rivalry a little bit more of a grudge match. And we're looking forward to interacting with you guys this season and definitely going over all the drama as it happens next season when Philadelphia plays Toronto. These are going to be very interesting games. And I hope you will join us regularly as you have in the last year still. All the best to you, Blue City. And I'm glad to see you, honestly. It's really good to see Philly fans still coming in and interacting with us because we want to have a peaceful connection as a passionate fans of the NBA and basketball in general, even if we have a little bit of an ugly grudge match going on right now, because this is kind of shots fired on us by Nick, and we're not happy with him. If anything, you can be happy about that. Wayne's saying Nick Nurse gave a game to Philly in Toronto in Scotty's first playoff series. I saw it when he moved Fred from covering the inbounder to cover a taller player at the rim. That was his call. I saw it. See? We could go back and we could look at all kinds of video in different places and see places where it looks a little fishy, what Nick is doing, why it doesn't make any sense. Like, why the fuck would you do that, Nick? Why are you overplaying Siakam so bad? And then you're going to ask him to take the last shot at the end of the game when you've absolutely worn him out. by giving him like 2 minutes off the court the whole entire game. There's all kinds of fishy decisions. And to the casual NBA viewer, they're not going to see all that. People that may have a little bit of experience playing or coaching or know basketball and the rules and different things about plays and setups and adjustments, they will catch some of this stuff more than just the average NBA fan who's just kind of watching. They may not understand how that difference is that Wayne just described. And I could remember something kind of like that. There was some fishy stuff. The very last game of that series with Philadelphia last year, the way we were not prepared and we came out and we just rolled over and let them beat us on our own home court in game 6 of that first round matchup with Philly last year, it looked a lot like how we rolled over for Chicago in the play-in game this year. That I don't like that. That these are games where you're in elimination, and Nick should be getting these guys to be like, this is do or die. You guys, you want to take a vacation? You want to be done? I do. I want 2 weeks off so I can think about my job. Well, you better get out there and win because there's no tomorrow if you don't win. Those kind of situations like that playing against Chicago and that elimination game with Philadelphia in Toronto on that Saturday when we went out last year, the effort from the Raptors was really disappointing. And I blame Nick for not getting them to understand the gravity and just how much they needed to be up for both those games. That is on the coach in some ways, not preparing the team correctly to play at the level to meet the other team in an elimination game for your playoffs. Because the effort on both those games was very, very poor. Very, very poor. The defensive effort in that Philadelphia game last year was disgustingly poor. I was disappointed in them. I was like, this is not the Raptors. Why are they like this on a game where they are going home if they lose? And then you can say, why did they roll over and die against Chicago? Oh, blame a little girl screeching. No, they gave up a 19-point lead at home in a play-in game, one and done. That is just, you can't defend that. That's a poor getting the team motivated and ready. Maybe that's why you might need to be worried, Blue City. Is there going to be a point where like you guys worry about Harden not showing up in the playoffs? Is there going to be a game where Nick just decides I'm not going to get the players up and then you guys will go out like a dog like we did the last 2 years? That's what I would worry about right there. Let's see. Elijah's here. Good to see Elijah Hutchins. Always good to see Raptor Freak Elijah Hutchins. As long as ticket prices don't go up for Detroit games, I'm cool with it. I appreciate my last-minute scrambles to the arena. This is awesome. So Elijah likes to go across the border and go to the Detroit games. They're very cheap. And, I don't know. We'll have to see. Detroit probably will rise their prices because they're going to get better. And, they have kind of an attractive team to watch with Cade Cunningham playing. Last year was good because Cade was out, and they were kind of really bad. They were really bad. But I expect they may go up a bit, but maybe not too much. They have a really hard time getting attendance for their building, so they probably won't raise it too much. Monique saying, nice to see the followers go up, Lex. Happy for you. W stream all around. Keep at it. Good times ahead. Guys, go Raptors. Thank you, Monique. I got a little bump yesterday from doing content on Shams and Fred and the live thing yesterday. Yeah, a little bit of a bump. Y'all really help me. I want to get to 670 very quickly. I'm really worried about sitting on that particular number for too long. So I may even go get somebody or make up an account just to avoid that number because I don't want to lose followers just because I get stuck on the devil's number. So, if you can help me get to 670, I am on a subscription drive right now because I'd like to avoid being on the devil's number, if you know what I mean. Some people will be like, his follower account is not good and we need to go past it. And I'm a numerology guy and I saw that. I'm like, damn, I need to get past this number because it could be very bad if I don't. So let's see 667 or 670 as quickly as possible. Please help me get that subscriptions up. Mike's saying W stream, the coach needs to be making more decisions. And I think that could help with roles and player tension. Yes, Nick put too much on Fred's shoulders. Fred had to be that coach too much. And Jordy or Sergio or Steve, whoever comes and coaches us, you're in charge. You tell the players what to do. Don't leave it up to them. Don't let them improvise like a jazz musician in the corner with a sax. No, you give them the sheet music and you tell them exactly what notes to play. No more free-form jazz, acid jazz, like Nick Nurse used to love. Oh, it's jazz on the court. Just do what you guys do. No, You're going to be is a composer. He's going to stand up there at the thing, just like the conductor does. And he's going to be like, and they better play their instruments in the notes and the beat and the time that composer wants, whether it's Sergio, Jordy, or whoever. That's what I'm saying. No more freeform jazz. I hate acid jazz. It's stupid. Miles Davis every day. None of this like all over the place jazz. You know what I'm talking about. Professional saying, I got the Sixers jersey customized. Had to pay extra to get the natural Nick Nurse on it with the number 1. That's awesome, man. Do you guys have like a band in Philly? Because he did his farewell jam with the Arkells. Y'all are going to need to have a good band there. Is Boyz II Men still like active? Maybe Nick will go play piano with Boyz II Men. They're from Philly, right? Motown Philly. You know what? Who can he go play with, musical wise? Because he's with the Arkells here in Toronto, and this matters. It does matter. He needs a musical outlet. So tell me, who is he going to play with? A professional. I know there's probably very good musicians from Philadelphia. I can't think of any off the top of my head exactly, other than Boyz II Men. I don't know. You guys need to get a band for him to join because he's going to need that outlet. Trust me. He's not going to be flying up here and playing with the Arkells anymore. He had his goodbye play. But yeah, he's going to need that. He's going to need that. So Cool Cat saying, just tune back in for the meeting. We're having a long session today. I'm not trying to. I'm actually would have finished a little while ago, but why not? Wait, there's a Nick Nurse jersey? No, he's making a customized Philadelphia Nick Nurse jersey himself. He had to go pay extra to get the Nurse put on it. Yeah, so it's like that. Yeah. Is Dillon Brooks a free agent? Well, he's not going to be a Grizzly. So yeah, he is. They've already said under no circumstances ever. None of them. You could buy the team, Dillon Brooks, and you still couldn't play for them. You could buy the team. There's no circumstance under whatsoever that Dillon Brooks will be a Memphis Grizzly next year. It's hilarious. MSJ saying that professional. Did you get both home and away? Laugh out loud. I'm serious. How often have you guys seen a coach's jersey? And anybody wearing them, like anybody. Was there anybody ever wearing a Pat Riley jersey? Was anybody ever wearing a Phil Jackson jersey? Like, I've never seen that kind of stuff before. It's not often you get a coach's jersey. And this guy's getting a Philadelphia Nurse jersey. All right, well, you go for it. That's kind of cool. Cool Cat saying Nick Nurse might ask for Dillon Brooks and Philly. I don't know. I've heard Philly, like there's a couple of different people that are interested in Dillon. The team that I think is going to get him is Dallas. I think Dallas is going to get Dillon Brooks, honestly. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Real quick recap. Jordi Fernandez is a 20-year-old from the suburbs of Barcelona, Spain. He has a PhD in sports psychology. He really does know how to connect with people on all kinds of levels, whether it's being nice or being a little harsh. He knows how to work people-wise. He has people skills. And then you add in that he has really good offensive X's and O's and really good like ideas that are fresh and cutting edge in the world of basketball. People are highly endorsing him that he's going to be a head coach someday in the league. Well, maybe he'll be a head coach within a couple of days, and it will be for the Toronto Raptors. This what I would be very, very happy about. So I fully give a ringing endorsement of Jordi Fernandez, somebody that has got a lot of people that are big fans of him around the NBA already. And that is because he is something else. And him being around Sacramento and Denver the last few years, we've seen how those programs have been on the up and up and building towards more and more success. Well, come to Toronto and help us do that here, Mr. Fernandez. We'd be very happy to have you. Also, a new study came out yesterday. The Raptors fan base is the smartest fan base in the NBA. The dumbest fan base is the Warriors fan base. Just some pure facts from a study done recently. The Blue Jays game last night, a lot of our Raptors were at the game. Scotty Barnes, Joe Wieskamp, Ron Harper Jr., all at the Blue Jays game together with each other, palling around, getting good Raptor time on the offseason at the Blue Jays game. I love seeing that. Eric Lewis is not on the finals referee roster because of his weird shenanigans on Twitter with his burner account. He's under investigation. So he will not be refereeing in the finals, and they've made a big deal out of this. I'm going to get you. They're going to scapegoat him, and they're going to fire him and put him out of the league. Watch. I'll bet you they'll do that this summer. And then also the referees for tonight. We got Mark Davis, David Guthrie, and Ed Malloy refereeing game 1 of the finals tonight. Mark Davis slightly favors the Denver Nuggets. David Guthrie very heavily favors the Denver Nuggets. And Ed Malloy, he favors the Nuggets also. So all three refs are very much favoring the Nuggets tonight. Monty Williams signing a huge contract last night, $12 million a year for 6 years. Wow, and wow. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please help me grow to 670. I got to get to 670, y'all. At least 669. Just got to get away from the devil's number. Wow. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Tomorrow, Friday, Freak Out. Saturday, Share the Love Club for Adrian Griffin. That's what's coming up on the channel in the next couple of days. 9:30 a.m. every day live. We're talking Raptors. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go.